All right. This is live. There we go. I forgot about the delay. All right. All right, what's up, people? So, Brian's gonna be here at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Eastern. Oh, Ed, you're sick too. I'm feeling so much better than I was yesterday. I literally thought I was dying yesterday. I thought that was it. My life is over. I can't survive. Hey, GB. So hopefully, I know I feel much better, Shauna. Andrew, you're sick too? Aw, see, everybody's sick. We could be sick together. So you guys know, if you don't, I do a live every single Friday night at 9. Nothing ever changes. I did, right, Marissa? Hey, Karen. So yeah, I do a live every single Friday night at 9. It's without fail. So we'll wait a little while. I totally disagree with what I heard though in the other room. Because the honest to God truth is, I have no idea why Zellner even filed this appeal. It makes zero sense to me because she stated on the 17th that there is no reason that the appeal is totally different than what she was filing with the Bones. So I honestly have no idea what this whole thing was about. Hey, Missy. Hey, Jetty Scoops. So, Missy and Jetty Scoops, just so you guys know. So, Pat Roberts used to torture me like 3 years ago. And then when I was seeing Angelo, my ex, he would like just fuck with Angelo all the time. But he didn't do it in a disrespectful way. He did it in a funny way, but he's just crazy. You just have to laugh at him, ignore him. He absolutely means no harm. He's just funny. Hey, Patrick. Thank you, Karen. Yeah. Max Cobra, you lost it. You're done. You lost last night. I even asked you if you were joking. You told me nope. Um, there is a necklace under the scarf because remember I had to do 3 videos today, so I changed like 3 times. Hey, Spicy. Those are the most uncomfortable PJs. I'm telling you, 3 times I changed today. Aw, Patrick. So just so you guys know, if you're getting in late, Brian will be here at 10. So it gives like an hour for anyone to like catch up. I am feeling much better. Yeah, Jetty Scoops. He's funny, but he's crazy. And you just have to ignore him. Like I wouldn't want him to say that stuff in a live, but I'm telling you, he's funny though. He's had this thing about anal from day one, but he really means no harm. He's just funny. He thinks he's funny, let me say. Hey Earl, I am feeling a lot better. But let me give you a little background on Brian. Brian knows everything about Darlie Routier, like everything. And I try to get someone that believes she's innocent on. I couldn't find anybody, so I'm going to play like devil's advocate. But I was talking to him earlier. Like, if you listen to him, you're totally convinced that she's guilty. But there's so much like to it, like so many questions that I have. Excuse me, so many questions that I have, and he totally like he knows how to answer them. And then if he doesn't, he's like me. He's like, I don't know that answer. I don't know why, but he's written to Darlie. He's spoken to Darlie. Like he knows his stuff. Yeah, Missy, you just gotta ignore him. You just got not ignore him, just laugh at him. I mean, really, just laugh at him. Thanks, Earl. I definitely am better. And thank you, Crystal. I mean, you guys know every Friday night at 9 o'clock I do a live. That's without fail. If I was dying, every Friday night at 9 o'clock Central Time, I do a live. Tracy, I mean Brian, he probably has. I almost mentioned this case to you the other day. Oh, see, the thing is, Karen, I am like a lot of people on this case. I just don't know if she's guilty or innocent. I could say it 100 times, like, but if you listen to Brian, she's totally guilty. But there are certain things that to me don't add up and they don't make sense. So that's why I wanted him on. And he has a YouTube channel too. And he runs a bunch of groups on Darlie Routier. And I've taken some heat in his groups for saying that she's innocent. So he's always backed me. He's always had my back. He's a good guy. I know, aren't my jammy schmancy? Thanks, Lindsay. You don't know anything about Darlie Routier? Okay. So I'll explain it when he gets here. If you don't want to look it up prior, I will definitely explain it when he gets here. It makes it easier. Still have 2 of the grandkids. Be glad when school starts again. My daughter will be happy when school starts again, too. Tracy, that's exactly how I am. I totally go back and forth. Actually, this shouldn't be all the way down. I'm telling you, I had to change 3 times today. I wasn't going to do 3 videos wearing the exact same thing. So I'm like, changing shirts. I can't believe none of you guys know about Darlie Routier. It's an old case. Just to give you a nutshell, she is on death row. She is, she's charged with murdering 2 of her sons. There's a whole bunch to it. I'd rather have him explain it, but she's on death row. Ah, thanks, Missy. Why must the dog stand on my ankle? Yeah, Fluffin' Out of Butter's like in love with my daughter all of a sudden. Bobby Dasser video you just made sounds to me like Didi was trying to recruit him into the fraternal order cops there. Exactly. But Janet, like, how weird was it? It's like you take Brendan and then you take Bobby and you just reverse it. Like both times the cops were totally trying to, push stuff on them just in opposite directions. It's so weird. So this is what we're going to do. From like 9 to 9:45, we're going to talk about Zellner, the appeal and all that. Then from 9:45 on, we're going to talk about Darlie Routier. Fair enough? Because this way I'm not going like back and forth, back and forth. Donette, I'm the same way though. Totally the same way. It is an interesting case. It absolutely is. So as far as Zellner's appeal go, let me explain it exactly the way I said in the video. It means absolutely nothing. I don't even know why she filed it because the appeal, I mean, she said on the 17th that the new testing has nothing to do with the old testing. I have no idea what this whole thing was about. If somebody was paying her, I would say total, money. She was wasting time and money, but nobody's paying her. So I don't understand the point of it. Okay, Zellner, explain why this denial makes no difference. All right, Edward. Like I just said, on the 17th, Zellner specifically said, I one of the questions that somebody asked her was something about, adding this to the 20th motion, the 20th appeal, which is the one that they're talking about now. And she said no, because the 20th appeal is old stuff. The new testing is going to be new stuff. Therefore, you can't put new stuff in with old stuff. She said it. So that's why I don't get this whole denial. This whole denial means nothing because she knew it was going to be denied. Why even try filing it? I don't get it. Exactly. This isn't related to the testing. It has nothing to do with it. But it seems like she was trying to add it in order to make this stay when this motion that got denied is from stuff she's appealing from 2015 and 2016. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what she's like holding on. She was granted DNA testing and has been dragging on for over 10 years. All right, now we're getting into 2 cases. It doesn't affect the DNA testing. It doesn't affect anything. I don't know what she was doing. Do you think Zellner's... maybe, Edward, it's very possible. But I mean, I knew that she couldn't combine the two. I don't know what she was looking to stay, what new evidence all of a sudden, because what the appeal court said is 100% right. She can't... she can file another motion. She can file new evidence, but what she's already filed is from 2015, 2016. Whatever's new now doesn't matter. File that, and like the state said, wait until you get an answer before you're worried about making a mistake, because you can always file another motion. So I don't get it. Hey Nick, I am feeling better. Thank you. Is there a finite number of appeals KZ gets? Yes and no. From what I gathered today, though, this wasn't even at the appeal level. Like it was. I mean, they wrote her an answer, but she can file as much as she wants in circuit court. She can file new things in circuit court, but yeah, she only has a certain amount of appeals she can make, depending on what she's filing the appeal on. Appeal process can get really confusing, but at the end of the day, it's really simple too, because there are certain things that she can't file after a certain point, or she has a certain amount of days to do it, and it's confusing, but it's not. Thanks, Still Strangely. Hey, this is the first time I ever caught you live. How exciting. I'm glad you're here, Katrina. E-Bones and the Rav. It's funny that you bring up the Rav, because I thought I wasn't going to do a video on the Rav, because I'm like, you know what? I don't want to bring up old wounds. Everyone kind of put the RAV4 to rest. Like nobody thought anything of it. Then I started mentioning it. I started talking about it. And then all of a sudden I see Team Anat write an article about the RAV4 and how different it is. I was like, oh my God, I should have done a video, because now people are starting to talk about it again. So I'm going to do a video on it, on why I think there's more to this. So I'm going to hit that. Once upon a time, Laura was on the phone with me, frantically looking for a RAV deal. This was like 4 days ago. It was last weekend, actually. Hey, Tim. Fortunately, I think Steven and Brenda will knock it out. I think it's all no straw. It's Lindsay. I'm at the point. I kind of agree with you. Like I said, if it was at the point where, she was charging somebody for all these wasted filings, I get it. But she's not charging anybody. So I don't really understand why she's doing it. I think we're all doubtful to a certain extent. But yeah, Marissa, I thought it was so funny that all of a sudden he's writing an article about the RAV4, and I was like, no way, I just discussed this. I really just didn't want to bring up old wounds. GB, I so want to believe that you're right and she has a plan. Believe me, I so want to believe it. The Rav, I think, is different. I think it is too. Yeah, it's a turquoise necklace. I just take one of them off. It's lipsticks. See, that's why I don't wear gloss, because it falls. Oh my God, just saw you. Do you work for Southwest Airlines? You could be a flight attendant. No, I'm too old to be a flight attendant, and I got kids. Still frustrated that Supreme Court didn't hear Brendan's case. I agree. I was hit by a vampire, right? That's what I get for wearing gloss lipstick, because I don't have any makeup on, so I was trying to look alive. Oh, so this is all mangled. All right, I'm gonna go back. Hey, Hazel from Spain. That pic in your last video of those two raps spun me. I got that from T Manitowoc's article in georgezipper.com. If you guys don't know that blog, it's a great blog. I've gotten a lot of info from there. Is it true some of the bones KZ wants to test were given to the Hawbuck family back in 2011? That's the rumor, Tim. That's what they say. That Zellner, I'm sorry, that they'd given her, Teresa's family, the bones. But the way I understand it, don't quote me on this, I might be dead ass wrong. But the way I understood it or the way I read it is that Zellner, I'm sorry, the state only had to give a certain amount, like they were allowed to give a certain amount or something to the family. Like, I don't think they can get in trouble for it, but I might be wrong. I may have read it wrong or something, but that's kind of what I felt like. I know, right? Just keep getting naked. I hate my neck. I'm getting old and I hate my neck. That's why I always wear these things. Another costume change, right? The white buttons on your sleeve look like dog squeakers. Hey, I made these buttons. There we go. Remind me not to do 3 videos in one day. No, I needed something off my neck. All right, there we go. Boof. Ta-da! Done. Now I'm not going to change anything else. It's not still strangely. Can you put up that blog? Oh, yeah, let me get it. I think I just want to make sure I got it right. So hold on one second. Let me find it. All right, so just so you guys know, I'm about to post my little secret info. But no, I've been watching this guy for a long time. He's really good. Oh, you know what? I forgot to let you guys know. I added a new mod. Missy is a new moderator. And I have to give her a wrench, and I totally forgot. Missy, where are you? There she is. All right. Add moderator. Missy now has a wrench. I don't know where she went, but she has a wrench. I don't know where she went, though. She disappeared. I don't know where she went. There she is. My 2 M's, Marissa and Missy. And where's Phoebe? I feel like my wrench has 3 ends now. No, Missy's awesome. Missy and Marissa. Say that 5 times fast. Tim Donato, possibly, but at that point, it would be systematic regardless of leadership. I missed that question. Did you guys see the link? Let me post it again. Just so you guys know, though, I get a lot of stuff from that website. So, shh. Mum's the word. Shh. No, but he writes really good stuff. It's not like the real George Zipper, but Team Manitowoc writes a lot of stuff for him. And how I found him was when Carmen Bootwell's sister got a hold of me, brother got a hold of me, and I got Mike Ryan involved. Mike Ryan got the guy that writes that involved. I always thought Team Manitowoc was Michael Ryan, but we won't go there. But Michael Ryan had George Zipper write a article, not the George Zipper, but the writer of that blog write an article about it. Basically the same thing that I've already told you guys, but he's got some good stuff in there from years past. And I noticed tonight that Team Manitowoc have written an article about it. about the RAV4. Copy on the link, boss. Yeah, it's a good article. I mean, it's a good blog. He's got tons of information, tons of pictures, everything. If you had to pick 3 killers you didn't get to in the 12 days, who would they have been? That's a tough one. Darlie Routier is one of them. What's his name? Ed Gein, that everyone told me I should do. And oh my God. I forgot who the final one was. It was somebody on Christmas. But I'm going to do all of those. You had to pick 3 killers you would pardon. I wouldn't pardon any of them. Did Michael talk to Jason Z? No, I don't know if he did. But I know Gacy. Thank you, Edwards. Gacy. But Gacy wasn't a Christmas thing. I wouldn't pardon any killers. You should do the golden state. There's a lot of them I'm going to start doing. While there's really not much going on in Making a Murderer, I mean, obviously, like if something comes up, I will absolutely do it. But I do want to start leaning towards doing more true crime stuff. Like I heard this 911 call before because I'm like searching 911 calls to find good material. Oh my God. This woman took her kids, put them in the oven and burned them to death last year in Georgia. I couldn't believe it. I was like, ew. She called 911 blaming her parents. I mean, blaming her sister. Why would you pardon Manson? You're crazy. Hey, Millbilly. I didn't think you'd come over. Marissa's alive, not dead. So this con artist is going to the real party, which is Irikos, LOL's Codes Heads. See you, Nick. We're not pardoning oven women. Yeah, right? Yeah, I can't think of it either. It's crazy. You want lots of ideas? Check out Scare Theater. Yeah, there are lots of ideas. I mean, there really are tons and tons and tons of people. Tons of, like I went on FBI's missing kids today, and I remember this case because Dateline did it. Now I forgot her name because I'm horrible, but I've totally forgot her name, but she's been missing for like 10 years or something, and she's on FBI's most, but she was like a stripper from, I totally forgot where, but Dateline had it. It was a whole big thing, and I thought they found her, and they never found her. Did Ed Gein actually kill people? I believe he did. I think he did. Ed Edwards, Jetty Scoobs, he's a joke. Patrick, so many people have been telling me to do the Iceman. So many. I can't even tell you how many. I honestly, I know Richard's story. It just doesn't excite me that much. And I mean, literally, a lot of people are telling me I have to do the Iceman. Story about Amber was so sad. Amber, which Amber? Netflix has some good true crime. Manson was a punk. I agree, Missy. Manson was a punk. Iceman is Richard Kalowski or something. Some Polish guy who thought he was in the mob. Amber from Amber Alert, I agree. Madeleine McCann is not that exciting to me. I don't know why. It's just not. I never really got into the case. Manson needs to stay in the system. I agree. There's Brian. I'm telling you, Brian, everybody keeps telling Kalinsky. Thank you, Mike. Everyone keeps telling me cover Iceman. I guess I'm gonna cover Iceman. I mean, I've gotten like 12 requests on it. So, Max Cobra, if I cover Iceman, are you going to go on Google Hangouts Live with me since you know so much about him? Jennifer Markham. Thank you, Tim. See, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Tim. Jennifer Markham is exactly who it was. So, Max Cobra, you going to go on next Friday and do a Google Hangouts like Brian's going to do with me tonight on Iceman? Cool. It's a date then. You're on. So, next Friday night, it's going to be Iceman. I would absolutely do a missing persons case. All right, Max Cobra, you're on. Iceman is guilty as hell, but it's a really interesting story. And he's killed so many people. Allegedly. Still, I would absolutely do a missing persons case, hands down. That's how I got into the Watts case, because she was a missing person, but then I knew he did it like from day one. And then when he admitted, I just got bored. Yeah, Iceman's an interesting case, Karen. He was like, in a nutshell, he was this Polish guy who was like 6'9", worked for the mob and killed like 300 people for the mob, bodies that you have no idea even existed. But he did it in such like a low key, like, nobody knew it was him. Did I get that right? From what I remember? How about the Kai the Hatchet Welder? I don't think I know that one, Frank. Scott Davis? I don't know that one either. 6'5", 300 pounds. Nightmare in Hickory Street, Joliet, Illinois. Killed 2 victims and had sex on top of their bodies. Nice. Hillside Stranglers, I know. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I'm going by memory. I haven't looked at the case in a long time. But I remember looking at him like, what's this guy's story? I know Vandersloot, but it was never proved he killed Natalie Holloway, right? He never was charged for it. He was charged with somebody else's. It's okay, Jeremy. I don't know why Ericos went live at 9. He knows I do a live every Friday night at 9, so whatever. Yes, I'm going to do Richard Kuklinski next Friday night. New mod. Missy is our new mod, as well with Marissa and Phoebe. But Phoebe's hard because she's alternative to her time zone is different. Please read Spicy's question. That was spooky. Spicy? I'd love to see someone cover Slender Man and how it affected kids enough to kill for him. I will absolutely cover that. Slenderman, I will absolutely cover it because I can't believe that these girls killed. But you know what, Spicy? I mean, you're old enough. It kind of is like in the 80s and 90s, people were committing suicide and blaming Ozzy Osbourne, saying that it was Ozzy's fault that people were killing people, that people were killing themselves. It wasn't Ozzy's fault. Music doesn't make people kill each other, just like video games don't make people kill. It's kind of the same thing with the it's the same thing with those girls. But I could do a video on that this week. Get the gun, get the gun. I play Slender Man, the video game. Marissa, Mustang Cobra, not the snake. Just call him Mike. Suicide solution. Exactly. Ozzy is innocent. Same thing the WM3 were blamed for. Exactly right. Oh, that's right. They were blamed for that, for music, for being in a satanic cult. Shauna, you never heard of what? You never heard of people blaming Ozzy? You never heard of Slenderman killings? Which one? I live right by the Slenderman case. My kids live right down the road from Morgan. Damn. The media blamed Marilyn Manson as well. Ozzy always got the blame, biting off heads. Do you know Iron Maiden was my very first concert backstage, and Bruce Dickinson was the biggest dick ever. He almost ruined my entire love for metal because he was such an asshole. But he was like short too. I was like 5'6" at the time, and he was probably a little shorter than I was, and he was such a dick. I hated Iron Maiden ever since. Judas Priest was awesome. Wisconsin, you could do a story a week. That is true. You know, Scoobs, I tried looking up different cases in Wisconsin today, like different missing persons cases. And their big story right now and continuing is that Jamie story. You know, the girl that disappeared when her parents were found dead. But there's not much in the papers about it. Is Eddie their mascot? Eddie was Iron Maiden's mascot. Columbine is another one. As weird as this is going to sound, I kind of don't know if I want to cover school shootings because, like, I feel like then I'm glorifying it. And what if it happens again? And I don't know. I have this thing about it. Hide the Hatcher Welding Hitchhiker is an internet viral video featuring a hitchhiking man identified as Kyle Lawrence. It was released by a reporter. Sex trafficking. Marilyn Manson was attacked over Columbine. Yeah, you can't blame music. You absolutely cannot blame music for, deaths or suicides. It's so stupid to blame music. Tell your guest to call now that I want to watch him before I fall asleep. Oh, Brian, I want you to start now. Force of the People wrote a song about Columbine, teen killers. Teen killers, I am going to do. I guess all the school shootings fall into teen killers. The video went viral, received national attention in the press. All right, so Marissa, only for you. He's gonna start early. Hang on, let me send him the link. So, Brian, what you do is you click on that link, you stay in this room, but you click on that link, and then you mute the one that's showing the chat. You mute that one. Hey, Tanya. Yes, I've been looking into the rodent killings. By the way, Tanya makes the best Christmas cookies I have ever had in my entire life.
Okay.
Just so you know. Now you have to mute. You got to mute the one with the chat. Cookies I have ever had in my entire life.
Okay.
Just so you know. Now you have to mute. You got to mute the one with the chat. Cookies I have ever had in my entire life.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
Mute the one with the chat. You got to mute the one with the chat. Cookies I have ever had in my entire life.
I see it in the corner here.
You have two Google Hangouts open. One has the chat, and one is the Hangout. You have two Google Hangouts open. One has the chat, and one is the Hangout. Ouch. You have to mute the chat.
I'm trying to.
Ouch.
Hang on, I'm trying
You
to.
have to mute the chat.
Okay, I'm looking. I'm trying to. Hang on, I'm trying
You
to.
have to mute the chat. There you go. I think you got it. Already muted both. Oh, poor Lindsay. Headphones that'll kill you. I think he got it, but I think he muted both, trying to figure out which is which. Is Chris Watson Stephen Avery's jail? No, he's in Brendan's jail. And I guess like a lot of people go there. I know, I think I'm deaf now too. Yeah, you have to mute the YouTube, not the Hangouts. Come on, Brian, you can do it. There you go. You got it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Got it.
Good. I can't see myself, but that's not important.
All right. Just so you know, if you can't see the Hangouts, there's a huge delay. That's why you have to mute it.
Good. I can't see myself, but that's not important.
Right. Just so you know, if you can't, I have to mute it. Huge delay. That's why you have to mute it. Why am I? No, it's not me. It's you. Just so you know, if you can't, I have to mute it. Huge delay. That's why you have to mute it. Why am I? No, it's not me. It's you. Just so you know, if you can't, I have to mute it. Huge delay. That's why you have to mute it. All right, you're still not muted. It's you. Yeah, you're still not muted.
Okay.
Now you are.
I can hear you. I can't see me, but that's okay.
All right. I'll wait to see if the delay. No, I think you're good.
Okay.
All right. You get used to it. All right. So, for Marissa, we're going to start 20 minutes early. And as I almost explained, it's not falling apart, Max Cobra. As I tried to explain earlier, so a lot of you guys don't even know who Darlie Routier is. Let me pull up, because I gave you a brief description. But let me get a little more details. She's an American woman from Rolla, Texas. She was convicted of murdering her 5-year-old son, Damon, in 1996. She was never charged with the murder of her other son, which is 6-year-old Devin, which I'm going to have Brian explain. Both boys were stabbed to death with a large kitchen knife that came from her own house, and she received the death penalty. Now, Brian, the reason why I brought Brian on here, as I stated earlier, there's nobody I know that knows this case better than Brian. Let me also add, Darlie's birthday is the exact same birthday as mine, except she's a year older. So that's always had me intrigued by the case because she's January 4th. And I'm going to have Brian, that's like a little background on exactly who she is. And he did mute the chat. You guys shouldn't hear feedback. And now I'm going to let Brian explain who she is.
Well, she's from Altoona, Pennsylvania, and she met Darren in Lubbock, Texas, at the Western Sizzlin. Darlie's mother, is the one that introduced them, and they got together on Mother's Day. She was, I believe, 15 years old, and Darren was 18 at the time.
Okay.
So they got together and they worked for a computer board testing company called Coplex, and from Coplex they started their own business called Tesnique, and they moved over to Rowlett and built their house there on Eagle Drive, and they lived there for 3 years before this crime started. Before the crime. That's a little bit of background. I mean, I'm better if you kind of lead it.
Okay. So, Brian, right off the bat, I didn't know that until somebody actually said it before to me. Why was she only charged with one of the kids' murders?
Well, because the age of Damon gave the harshest penalty. A child under 5 would get her the death penalty. And with Devin's age, he only received life. So Craig Davis went for the highest penalty. Even though the trial it's clear that it was about both Devin and Damon. He was mentioned in opening, closing, and all through the trial. They were going for the highest penalty.
Okay, but even though they were going for the highest, shouldn't they have still charged her with his death? I mean, doesn't that mean that his death is kind of going in vain? Thank you, Jay Mays.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of Darlie supporters that say that Devin never received justice. Now, let's say that they convicted her of both of them, and that means that essentially they would have to let her live in prison until she died, dig her up, and then give her the death penalty and kill her again. It saves the taxpayers a lot of money. You know, our prosecutors are supposed to save us money and get the highest conviction.
Okay. Now, she's been on death row, though, for 16 years.
She's been on death 22
years. Why hasn't she been why hasn't she been put to death yet?
Darlie's attorney right now is James Stephen Cooper, and his job is to delay, and keep her alive as long as he possibly can. Darlie has had more DNA testing done than any other Texas death row inmate. They're giving her every chance to prove that there was an intruder in there, and all the evidence and all the DNA testing clearly points to Darlie.
And Jane, we finally got someone who's innocent. And Jane, how much do you know about the case? I need someone who's innocent, who knows the case, willing to come on in this Hangouts as well. I couldn't find anyone. Everyone said it was too late.
That's right.
I'm in the middle.
Kevin's right. He says that if they charge her with both, then she would get life with parole.
That what?
Kevin says that if they charge her with both, then life with parole became an option. He's right.
Okay. Now, if for some reason she's found not guilty, all right, let's say down the road she's not guilty, can they then retry for the other one?
Absolutely, because there's no statute of limitations on murder. It's another statistic. That's how prosecutors play. They have to have a strategy.
So that wouldn't be covered under double jeopardy.
No, because she was never indicted for it. So in order for it to be double jeopardy, she would have had to been charged and tried with Devin's death.
See, that's really interesting, though. Hey, Allie, that's really interesting. So if let's say she wins all these appeals and gets off death row, the state of Texas can all of a sudden immediately turn around and get her for the other one and maybe put him in jail for the rest of her life.
They could, but if she was to win all these appeals, you know, the case is based on both of these deaths. If she was to win all these appeals, they wouldn't have a very strong case. But I'm pretty sure the state of Texas would recharge her for Devin. They want to keep her in jail as long as they can. That's the prosecutor's job.
That's really interesting.
It's a really good strategy that Greg Davis came up with. It really is. But all through the trial, if you look at Greg Davis' opening statement, it's clearly about Devin and Damon. And he says he's going to be the voice for them. And he was. Greg Davis is a really strong prosecutor. He had 22 convictions that led to death penalty convictions in his career.
That's really interesting. I didn't even know they could do that. That's really interesting.
It's all about keeping the criminal in jail as long as they possibly can, and never letting her come back out to cause harm to anyone else. The mitigating factors that the jury came up with, they felt like that if she were to be released, that she would kill again.
All right. So now Charla brings up a good point, which I was getting to this later, but since you brought it up, I'll say it. Everyone said because of her behavior at the gravesite for the birthday party that she must be guilty. Everyone grieves differently. Now, you've actually spoken to Darlie about this, correct?
I didn't talk to her. I wrote back and forth to Darlie, but she didn't talk about the case.
Oh.
She would not talk about the case because she learned her lesson from being in jail when they confiscated her mail and used it against her on the stand. Her behavior at the silly string party to a lot of people was not appropriate. It wasn't appropriate to a lot of people. But if you take that out, if you take the silly string video out, you still had a lot of circumstantial evidence that pointed directly at Darlie, like her changing stories.
Thank you, Christina. Christina believes she's innocent as well. I need innocent people to come on this panel and discuss it because I am caught. I don't know if she's guilty or innocent. And I speak to Bryan and she sounds guilty. Then I speak to innocent people and I think she's innocent. I found it distasteful.
I'm open to all of it. If there's something that proves that Darlie is innocent, if there's something that shows me that she's innocent, if there's something that even questionable, I put it out there. I don't want to kill an innocent person.
See, now, Ann Jane says that they've never seen the prayer service before the silly string party, and that's why the silly string party they feel like is the problem.
Well, the reason that they've never seen this memorial video from before the service, but Darlie Key has that, and she's never released it. The reason that I believe she's never released it is because it doesn't show anything. It doesn't show grieving Darlie. We should ask Darlie Key to release that because she swears that she has it.
Okay. But we have seen it already from the news reports and other places.
We saw like about maybe a 14 or 15-second clip, and that's where Darlie's got Drake and she's sitting down on the ground. But there hasn't been much more than that. The video that the police had at the gravesite was 14 hours long, and all we've ever really seen is like a 14, maybe 15-second clip where the family is praying, but it doesn't show Darlie falling down on the ground in tears like Darlie Key says. I'd like to see Darlie Key release that, just that she has it. Darlie Key would be the mother.
Thanks, James. But here's my thing, though. And since we're on the subject of the silly string video, it's inappropriate. It didn't sway me guilty or innocent. I just thought, like, whatever. Like, maybe that's just what her favorite kid's thing to do was. So I'm not worried. Like, I didn't get swayed from that. But that 911 call is pretty powerful. Like, if my kids were found dead, I can assure you the first thing I'm not going to say is my prints are on the knife. I found that to be the most bizarre, most incriminating thing I've seen in the entire case. Because as a mother, I just can't think that that's going to be the first thought that I have is, maybe I should worry about the fingerprints on a knife.
And not only did she talk about that in the 911 call, she also, when she got to the hospital, she kept talking about that with nurses. She was really concerned about that knife. The thing that's strange about the knives are they were Bakelite brand knives. They had handles on them that would not hold fingerprints. I mean, so that's why there was no fingerprints found on the knife whatsoever. She kept on going on and on about that knife even after she got to the hospital. Another thing that got me in the 911 call is where she said there's nothing touched.
I agree.
Who cares if there's nothing touched? Who's got time to look around to see if there's anything touched?
No, I agree.
She did sound like she was pretty hysterical to me, but I keep in mind, I started as a Darlie supporter, and I was a very avid Darlie supporter because I believe that Darren had it set up and went bad. But she was aware that she was being recorded. What do I do now? Hang up? I mean, my instinct as a parent would be once the police got there, just hang up. I don't understand why she said she chased the intruder out, picked up a weapon, and then turned around. I mean, why did she go all the way out? Why did she scream outside? Why didn't she go all the way out? I don't understand that.
I agree with that. Now, here's 2 points, though, that Christina and Ann Jane said, and they both, Christine, you also believe she's innocent, and correct? Christina says a knife found to her forearm looks like she held up her arm and was stabbed defensive wound and her cut throat. There are pics the jury never saw. We'll try to find and post them. Then Ann Jane said the lead detective pled the fifth while being questioned by the defense.
The lead detective, Jimmy Patterson, and Chris Fausch, they both pled the fifth, and it was only on the recording. They answered every other question in the trial. The reason that they pled the fifth is because the attorney, Doug Moeller, for Darlie, accused him of a crime in the court, and just like anyone else, they took him off guard. You have the right to plead the fifth. Darlie also pled the fifth at her custody hearing, but people don't talk about that. That the wound on her arm, I mean, it was a straight down stab. A defense wound would be more of a slice. That's my opinion.
Okay.
The reason that, like I said, again, with them pleading the fifth, it was only on the subject of the recording of the grave. There's videos on my channel that show Jimmy Patterson testifying to everything else but that question. Later on, they found that Jimmy Patterson did nothing wrong. He had permission from Rest Haven to put that recording device there. And it makes me wonder what people would think if they did catch Darlie or some other family member saying, "Hey, I did this." Then that would be great police work, wouldn't it?
Okay. So what about this slash on her neck?
The slash on her neck looks like a hesitation to me. I mean, I don't know if you see this the right way, but it looks like a hesitation and it came down. People say that the necklace stopped the wound from going. The necklace stopped it from hitting her carotid artery, but that's just absolutely incorrect. Like Susan Sarandon said on one of these shows that it was embedded so deeply into her wound that they had to surgically remove it. The truth of the matter is that necklace never made it inside of the emergency room. When they pulled the bandages off of Darlie, the necklace fell right out with it. And I spoke directly to Jody Fitz, who told me that. And it's all in the transcripts as well. As far as pictures that the jury never saw, there are no pictures that the jury never saw. As a matter of fact, if you read the transcript, they touch on every bruise that she had, and they turned every picture over. If you see Barb Davis in the last, pardon me, in the last show, she says, "Oh yeah, they sure did. They sure did see all of them, but they mixed it in with 1,000 other items, and the jury didn't look at them." So she's changed her. Barb Davis has changed her stance on that. Pardon me.
And what about the fact that she stood in the kitchen and bled for a few minutes in the exact same spot?
Right. Where the kitchen sink is, the blood drops that were under it show that someone had stood there for quite a while. There's also on the inside cabinet, there was a blood spot inside of there. The luminol showed that there was a cleanup done in there. So if there was an intruder, he was a very nice intruder and cleaned up on his way out. This
All
just
right.
These are my opinions, though, and I don't have any problem with anybody who doesn't think that Darlie is guilty. Usually, these types of debates get really nasty, and I get some of these supporters to the point where they just can't. They have nothing else. She's innocent, and that's it. Okay, well, show me. If you show
Don't
me,
you worry, Brian. I got plenty coming.
right? Yeah,
So Crystal said, I thought surgeon had to remove it surgically.
no,
And you said
it was not removed surgically at all. The necklace did not make it inside of the emergency room whatsoever. The surgeon, it never was. Here's the story: is the paramedics brought her out on a stretcher, and they went to remove it at the scene, but she grimaced. So they just went ahead and put the tape over it, so she had a squirting wound. All right. So when they got her ready for surgery, they took that bandage off, and the necklace came right off with it. That's a fact. You can look that up. I mean, it's in the transcript. Never went inside of the surgery. She had exploratory surgery, which resulted in maybe 7 or 8 sutures. maybe.
Okay. So now, someone else mentioned about the silly string that the jury Ann Jane said the jury convicted her on the silly string tape, and that's a fact. What's your response?
That's not a fact because the first vote was 8-4. It's not a fact that they. I've heard the jurors say that themselves. If you see Rena Way on the Lisa Gibbons show, they did not want to convict her. They didn't want to believe that a mother could do that. Her behavior in the silly string video probably didn't help her case much. But if you take that out, then you still have her changing stories. You still have when Darren was the first. Darren was the first suspect. He was the only one uninjured, and Darlie flat out said Darren was not the man I saw. I don't think the silly string helped her, but I don't think that was the nail in the coffin either. Pardon my.
Okay, Janelle Ruff says in the Dateline one, it stated that it was removed and showed the photo of the necklace with a link cut through. Then Katrina followed up and said, "Aren't you supposed to leave lodged items in wounds? We were always taught to leave them in, secure them in place to prevent bleeding out."
Right, that's a good. She's right, but when they took the bandage off, it came with it. So they didn't pull it out; it just came with it. And I asked Jody Fitz, the nurse, about that exact question. He said, "Well, it came with it, so they weren't going to just shove it back in there. They just pushed her in the emergency room, and they went ahead and put that up." You see, I've had a lot of chances to speak to some of the investigators, some of the jurors, some of the family, and I've had a lot of chance to really research this case.
Okay. And hold on. Oh, Mary says that she deserves a new trial. I absolutely agree she deserves a new trial.
On what basis?
That she didn't get a fair trial.
Okay, what was not fair about it?
Because the public had already hung her.
The public had a varying opinions like we do now. Some people felt like she was innocent, and some people felt like she was guilty. You can be tried in the media, and that has no bearing on the evidence in the case.
Yeah, but most jury this goes into a whole nother topic. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they got a fair trial, because if a jury is not smart enough to know to go by the evidence only, then they're kind of going to get screwed.
Well, I honestly, I'm not against another trial for her, because I think that another trial will put an end to it. I would have no problem with her getting another trial, but if we did this for every convict, everyone who says I didn't do this, they didn't treat me fairly. I mean, she's even admitted herself in writing that they had enough evidence to convict her. But I personally would not be against her getting another trial. I'd like to see it. That would put it. If she was to get another trial and lose again, that means they'll carry out the sentence quicker.
And what about the fact that, and this, I feel like someone GB just said about Brady violations. Spicy, you never heard the 911 call? I'll play the 911 call. GB had said something about Brady violations. Now, I don't know about Brady violations then, but what I can say is that, the cop had her guilty like 5 seconds after he walked in the door. That's impossible.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't make that kind of judgment immediately.
Well, and Mosty said that in his closing for her, but actually James Cron, what he said was that he felt like it was an inside job. He didn't say she did it. He felt like that it was an inside job, and that there was no intruder. And again, Darren was the first suspect. I didn't speak with James Cron, but I emailed back and forth. He was in that house for 9 hours. They say 20, 30 minutes that he came up with that. He brought a team with him, and all these other people agreed with him that this looks like an inside job. That's what he said. He didn't say she did it. It took him 12 or 14. It took him 12 days to become convinced that they had enough evidence to charge her.
Yeah, but I just don't feel that you can say that within 30 minutes. Like, it's almost like them blaming Avery before it even got anywhere. Like, that's just what it reminds me of. That
But
you
I understand.
can't like make someone guilty that quickly. It's not fair. Like,
But the misconception is that he blamed her right away, and he didn't. James Cron said 22 years ago that there was no intruder, and to this day, we have no evidence of an intruder.
but maybe they stop, and I'm just taking plain devil's advocate here. But
Yep.
maybe they stop looking because this well-respected policeman said, "Oh, this was an inside job."
Well, where were they supposed to look?
Where do you look for any intruder? They found a sock down the road.
They have to have evidence they have to have evidence against somebody to go look. They had nowhere else to look.
All right, now Tom says the screen was cut from the outside.
The screen was cut from the outside.
I thought it was cut from the inside.
Well,
So,
the report said that it was cut from the outside, and then they said it was cut from the inside. To me, basically, it was cut from the inside as well. I mean, like at the first reports were that it was cut from the outside. Then they came back and said it was cut from the inside. The fact of the matter is the screen didn't need to be cut at all, because if you look at Tommy Lynn Sells, who they blamed this murder on, he would just simply take the screen off. Devin and Damon were reported as climbing in and out of that window to get popsicles out of the freezer that was there, and they, at 5 and 6 years old, would just take the screen off. The fibers that are inside of the block, and it was stuck to the serrated knife that was inside of that block, tells me that the screen was cut from a knife that was already inside the house. That's what it tells me.
okay, Christina brought up what we talked about earlier, and that's the sock. But she wrote, ask him what his theory is about the sock found down the road with the boy's blood on it. One of the boys' wound was so bad they knew ETA of death and timing of 911 call, and sock didn't allow for her.
Well, she had plenty of time to set up the staging because Darren went to bed about an hour before that, so she could have staged it. The sock, and I took some notes about this sock, and let me just take a look here at what I wrote. And I consulted with Pamela Collins, who runs the Justice for Devin and Damon, because I wanted to be sure that I put out some facts here. And this is the response. She says, the damning thing about the sock is that there is none of Darlie's blood on it. Also, that it has the boy's blood on the outside and her skin cell DNA on the inside. All of that told investigators that the sock was taken down the alley after the boys were injured, but before Darlie was injured. It says, if you read her appeals, you see that they are asking for testing in hopes of finding her blood on the sock. That was Pamela. I consulted with her on that. That's the answer. There's none of Darlie's blood on that sock.
But
and clicking in the appeals would show that supports the state's theory. You'd have to look at the appeals on that.
Okay. But if her blood was not on it, that means that her feet did not have any blood when she ran it out to the street, which would be impossible if she just knifed her own kids.
And it would also be impossible for an intruder to get out there without leaving a footprint. The sock is very questionable, and I have to give people that.
You have to what?
The sock is very hard to explain. A lot of people say that if Darlie wanted to make it look like an intruder did it with the sock, she would just do it in the backyard. But there's no blood trail from either an intruder or from Darlie up to that sock that was 75 yards away.
All right, let me just say, Jetty Scoops, he's actually going by transcripts. Nothing what he's saying is like, and he'll say if it's stuff he made up. or his opinion, but a lot of what he's saying is right out of the transcript.
I don't have to put up a smoke screen. I honestly do not want her to be guilty.
Yeah, let me also add that Bryan actually thought she was innocent for a very long time.
Not only did I think she was innocent, I ran groups that showed that she was innocent. The Free Darlie group that you see today is one that I started. The thing that really set me off about that is that we kept getting lied to by Darlie Key. She kept lying.
Now, Stephanie said she thinks she used the glove to stop the knife from cutting her hand when she stabbed them. That's a good theory, too.
Well, I think she was worried about fingerprints being on the knife, which she shouldn't have been worried about that, because if there were her fingerprints on the knife, so what? It's her house. Darlie did have a slight cut on her fingers here that people say that it could have been where she slipped, but I don't agree with that. I think those three little paper cuts that were on her hand came from when she pulled that screen down.
All right.
Most of it, like Kevin Michael says, most of the blood on the site was Darlie's. Kevin Michael's really good at this case too.
All right, let me find the 911. They want to hear the 911 call.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to turn this around so you guys can hear it.
Give me a second. Nicole. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Nicole, baby girl. I can hear Fuller House over here.
What? I can hear you over here.
Well, Barry, I'm going to answer Tom Mounts real quick when we get this up. Darren failed the lie detector test. He was asked, do you know the name of the person who killed your boys? And he may have knew Darlie did it. Bryan, let me see the guy's name. Barry Fife. Of course he blamed it on Darren. He was their coke dealer.
Okay. That's my theory that he did it. But let me play this 911 call first, so everyone's on the same page. I'm going to play the 911 call. Hang on one moment. Why is it not playing?
I see you, Anna Jane, and we'll get to that.
911, what is your emergency? Ma'am? What? Who did? Hang on. Hang on, ma'am. Ma'am? Unknown medical emergency, 5801 Eagle Drive. Ma'am, I'm trying to get an ambulance to you. Hang on a minute. My babies are dying. What's going on, ma'am? Unknown medical emergency, 5801 Eagle Drive by 238, Cross Street, Linda Vista, and Willowbrook. Attention, 901 medical emergency. Possible stabbing, 5801 Eagle Drive by 238, Cross Street, Linda Vista, and Willowbrook. Sign out 232. 80. Oh my God! Need units going toward 6801 Eagle Drive, 5801 Eagle Drive. The therapist on the phone. The child has been stabbed. Ma'am, I need you to calm down and talk to me. Twice, clear. 5801 Eagle. 33 code. Ma'am, listen to me. I need you to. Oh my God! Can you take the radio clip? Ma'am, I need you to talk to me. Ma'am, I can't understand you. You're going to have to slow down, calm down, and talk to me. What is going on? Somebody killed Okay. Oh my God. Just set that on one. Hold on, honey. Hold on. Hold on. Oh my God.
Check the airway.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Ma'am, who's there with you? Ma'am. What? Is there anybody in the house besides you and your children? No, my husband, he's just laying downstairs. He's helping me, but he's dead. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. How many little boys? Is it 2 boys? Listen to me. Calm down. Calm down. Go ahead. 5801 Eagle Drive. 5801 Eagle Drive. It's going to be a stabbing. When is he going to be here? Ma'am, they're on their way. Oh my God. Ma'am, how old are your boys? What? How old are your boys? No. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, calm down, can you? Oh my God. Is your name Darlie? Yes. Is your husband's name Darren? Yes, sweetheart. Thank God, they're taking forever. There's nobody in your head. You don't know who did this? I can't, baby. No, baby, I have the clothes. I was sleeping. My baby, I'm not the God. They left the knife laying up. There's a knife. Don't touch anything. I already touched it. Picked it up. Who's out there? Is anybody out there? I don't know. Okay, ma'am, listen. There's a police officer at your front door. Is your front door unlocked? Yes, ma'am. Where's the ambulance? They're screaming. If they don't get in here, they're going to be dead. My God, they're dead. Hurry, please. Okay, there's... Is 82 out on Eagle? Uh-huh. Third Eagle. What Eagle? My God, hurry. 82, you out? Oh my God. Oh, they did it. What did he say? Why would they do this? Okay, listen, ma'am. You need to let the officers in the front door, okay? What? Ma'am? What? You need to let the police officers in the front door. This knife was laying over there, and I already picked it up. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. I got in the place, baby. Ma'am, hang on a second. They walked in here and did it, and there's nothing. Okay, ma'am. Nothing. Ma'am, is the police officer there? Okay, go talk to him, okay? Yes, that's okay. Go talk to him, baby. Okay?
I was trying to read the chat as we went along too, and people were saying, you know, maybe she wouldn't be able to speak like that, but she didn't cut into her airwave. It was 2 millimeters away from the carotid sheath, and you can catch her telling a lie on Herzog's documentary, where she said it was 2 millimeters away from the carotid artery. It was 2 millimeters away from the carotid sheath.
My whole thing is, though, and I've heard that call many, many times. I'm like obsessed with 911 calls lately.
Yeah.
And that call to me screams that she's guilty. Screams. No questions asked. She's guilty. On the flip side of that, though, is that, you know, why didn't, like, I don't remember a 911 operator asking her if she was hurt, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I have no training in either. But I do know from watching crime shows that if your neck is cut, they tell you do not speak. And I don't remember them ever even asking her if she was hurt.
Well, that's because she said they stabbed me and they stabbed my children, so she didn't need to ask her. And subsequently, Doris Trammell was the 911 operator. She quit her job over this. She couldn't do it anymore. She stopped being a 911 operator. She went home and threw up.
Wow.
I've said many times, yes, Tom. When I was a supporter, we went down there, and the house was up for sale. I was still a supporter, and one of the theories was that when the intruder came out of the house, one of the theories the supporters had was the reason the sock was down there is that he pulled that sock off his hand to get in his pocket and grab his car keys, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me now that I think about it. He left the keys in the car, and that he put that sock on top of the car, to get his keys out, and that when he took off, it fell. So I did that. I put the car up against the fence in the back of the house. I did that 3 times, and 2 out of 3 times it fell almost exactly where it was found.
Now, Steve had a good point, though. Steve says, wouldn't the 911 operator start giving medical directions? Why didn't she?
Well, because she didn't know the extent of the injuries. I would assume. I would assume she didn't know the extent of the injuries. She said they were stabbed, but she didn't know where at.
But shouldn't she have asked?
She could have asked. She could have done a better job than what she did, but I think her main goal was to get the police there. It's just like when somebody said, why did the first responding officer change his story so many times? He didn't change his story. His story's been the same. He's now a lieutenant at the Plano Police Department, and he does he's a neighborhood, he watches over the children now. His name is David Waddell, but he never changed his story at all. Maybe it could be like Stephanie says, probably because of how Darlie was freaking out. I think she wanted to make sure that the police got there and the ambulance got there instead of trying to give her medical advice. It's probably not a good idea to tell somebody to go sit down when their 2 kids have been stabbed. These are just my opinions, though.
Okay, Shauna wants to know, was the floor chipped from the knife?
The floor was not chipped from the knife. Neither one of the boys' bodies, you can see in the autopsies, neither one of the boys' bodies had it through and through. Actually, the chip was found when they pulled the carpet up, and that was from construction. It never went through the body. Now, you'll see Toby Shook, which is one of the assistant prosecutors in that case. He'll say that Devin was impaled, and people mistook what he said. Impaled means it went through his body, but it doesn't mean that it went out the other side. Neither one of the boys' autopsies show that a knife went through their body. That's a myth. It was started by Darlie Key and Darren on the Lisa Gibbons show when Lisa asked her, we hear that the force of the knife was so strong that it went through the carpet and into the concrete below. And Darren and Darlie Key both agreed with that. But they knew that if they knew, they should have known that the knife didn't go all the way through. They wanted to make it seem like a strong person did that and not a little woman. That's my opinion. But I do know that the knife didn't go through either one of the boys' bodies.
Okay. One of the boys crawled across the floor for a bit, and one was still alive when the cops showed up, correct?
Right. Damon is the one who crawled across the floor. He crawled 25 feet away, and it looked to me like he was actually, trying to get to his daddy, who was upstairs still. His blood splatter was found on the floor next to a wall that led up the stairs there, and Darlie's blood was all around it, which leads a lot of us to believe that while she was at the sink slicing her throat, you can look over, I've been there, you can look over and see right exactly that he was crawling away, and that's when she had initially stabbed him 4 times. She went back and hit him 2 more times. That's my opinion. That's the opinion of David Neighbors, the crime scene investigator who took the pictures. That's the opinion of the courts.
Okay. What about the blood splatter from where the knife hit the floor?
There was no drop pattern. She said that he dropped the knife on the way out in the doorway of the utility room. But, there's been a lot of people that done the test, especially Tom Bevel is the one that did the test, and he did a drop, and it would leave a certain kind of splatter, and there just absolutely was none there. There was none there to be found. There was no splatter that showed a drop. And Tom Bevel, he literally wrote the book on blood splatter. You can look him up, Bevel Gardner, and every year they update it and update it and update it. They just didn't find that splatter.
Okay.
He also found, she said that she ran back and forth. Well, when they tested, they put a sheet of paper out for Darlie to, they put paint on her feet. They had her walk, they had her run, and she said she ran and chased this intruder out. But the patterns on the floor showed that she was just walking. And the only footprints they have in the kitchen from Darlie lead away from the sink, not to it, away from the sink.
Okay. Now, my other question is, and I agree with this, I'm combining a couple of comments into one. So Lisa says, for someone to stab 3 people in a house and the husband doesn't wake up, like, really? But he wakes up when she's calling his name. I totally agree with her. Still, strangely, I will see you later. Katrina said if it was an intruder who cut her and also stabbed the children. Marissa knows too many crazy people. Why would he hesitate in one place and not the other? Why didn't Darren ever come downstairs? So combine all those 4. I totally agree. Why would Darren? And I think Darren's guilty. I really do. I always have.
A lot of people do.
But why does Darren not hear kids being stabbed? Maybe it's a mother thing. You're a father. I'm obviously not a dad, so I don't know how guys think. But from a mom perspective, I absolutely will wake up if I think my kids are in pain. Like, maybe that's mother instinct, but my father woke up when I was in pain. Like, so it's got to be parental instinct. It can't just be limited to women, because my dad used to know when I didn't feel good, when I had a headache. Like, he just knew.
Okay, let me try to answer that. Darren was asleep upstairs, and next to his bed in the ashtray they found half a joint. So that leads me to believe he smoked a little bit before he went to bed. He says he heard the glass break, and then he heard Darlie scream. His bedroom was way up on the other side of the house. Darlie was feet away from them, inches, and didn't hear them being attacked. Darlie was inches away from them. She said that she said she woke up because the man was on her. Then she changed it to she woke up because her 5-year-old, who was mortally wounded, tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Mommy, mommy." And another thing about instinct is Darlie never once asked about Drake. She never once asked about her baby that was upstairs. Darren went back up there and checked on him. Instinct would tell me, "Oh my God, what's about the baby?" Darlie never did that.
That's a good point. I never thought of it like that, but that's true. How did she not know the baby wasn't stabbed?
Because she didn't stab him. That's my opinion. She knew she didn't hurt him. A few days before this, there was testimony from Helena that she had to remove Drake from Darlie, who had him on the couch and wrapped in a blanket. She had him so tight that his lip was turning blue. And that when she took Drake away from him, that Darlie giggled about it. So it looks to me like she was planning something a couple days before, based on that testimony. That doesn't mean it's true. It's just based on that testimony.
Wow. See, I never knew that, but I've never read the whole transcript.
Yeah, the whole transcript. I mean, that court case, the whole case, just everything just pointed right at Darlie. She didn't have any good points at all. If I'd been on that jury, I would have found her guilty.
Okay, Tom says my coke dealer wouldn't think I was a murderer. Good comment. So I sleep hard, like I slept through a last Cat 1 hurricane. I've slept through 9/11, so I'm not one to talk about sleeping through things, but I will wake up at the drop of a dime if my kid has a fever, and I can just feel when he's really sick, and he had 105, and I felt it, and I woke up and I went into him. When I was in 6th grade, I almost died, and my dog actually was barking, and my dad woke up and realized that I was throwing up on my back and saved me, and it was just an instinct that he knew to get up. And I just think that's parental instinct. So the fact that he didn't And the fact that he acts like, I don't care how stoned he was, the fact that he wouldn't know or hear or something, to me, there's something wrong with that. And I don't know. Like Katrina says, humans have a sixth sense about danger. I agree. I don't know. Your kid is your kid. And I just can't, like, you can't wake me up. But if my kid is standing in my room, I will wake up instantly. I can't explain it. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, I can always go back to the reason that Darlie was down on that couch. The reason that she was sleeping on that couch was because she said that Drake, who had his crib in their room with them, would move around in his crib and it would wake her up. It didn't ever wake Darren up. It didn't ever wake Drake up. It didn't wake anybody else up, but it woke Darlie up. She had been sleeping on that couch for a week. So if just moving around in a crib would wake her up, you figure, I don't know how many stab wounds there were and her kids being attacked inches away from her would also wake her up. That's my argument on that. She should have woke up. You know, I could be laying on the couch and if somebody just walks around me and I'm asleep, I'll wake up. I wake up kind of easy. And if
But
you see
that's what I'm saying. Lindsay, I've been there too. Stephanie, I am not saying she's not guilty. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here because there are people that do think she's innocent.
there's a
But
lot of
Bryan,
people
you know, that what you said brought up a really, really good point, though, in that, you know, she never asked for the baby. I never thought of that. Like,
she
that's one aspect I never, ever thought of.
never asked anybody to check on Drake. Nobody.
And you would only do that, one, if you wished he was dead, or two, if you already knew he wasn't. That's an excellent point. I usually don't miss little things like that, but I definitely missed that one.
Yeah, it's a fact.
I never thought of that.
You know, and like I said, I don't believe that a child with that many stab wounds would calmly walk over to the mother and tap him on the shoulder and say, "Mommy, Mom." I've seen my kid just bump their knee and freak out. He had mortal wounds that killed him.
And that's another thing, though, that I always thought about. Exactly, Charla. She knew he was fine. Was that if you're going to be an intruder, why not? This is also what made me also think Darren was guilty. That if you're an intruder, then why not go after Darren? Like, any intruder's going to wipe out the man first. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to go after the hardest one first, which is the man. And
they keep claiming that that there was this black car that was stalking the house, and that they were watching the house before the time to hit. Well, if that were true, they would have seen Darren leave with her sister Dana and take Dana home and know that Darlie was in there by herself with no man to protect her.
okay.
The black car thing, people keep saying there was this black car. Well, you know, they had a $6,000 fountain in their cul-de-sac. It was lit up. It was really pretty. People would slow down to look at it. I mean, it really wasn't not typical for somebody to slow down and look at it. But they keep saying that there was this black car. Nobody got a plate number. Nobody got a make and model. Just a black car. Nobody ever mentioned a make and model ever.
But why didn't Darren, like, all right, before I get into Darren, people keep talking about the life insurance policy. Darren tried to get a $10,000 loan that he was denied not too long after both kids were killed, and they were worth 10 grand, correct?
Actually, Darren tried to get a $5,000 loan about 3 weeks before these murders, and he was denied that loan, not because they were broke. He just had too much revolving credit. But the entire funeral for them cost $13,000. The insurance paid $10,000 on it, and Darlie Routier is the one that gave them the other $3,000. Darren claims that they had $28,000 in the bank at the time of the murders. The business did, but they didn't. They were behind on their mortgage. His car was broken down. He had a Jaguar, and it needed an oil sending unit, which cost about $800. Their car was broken down. He was driving Darlie's car back and forth to work, which is therefore leaving her in the house, which she didn't like to be in the house with the kids.
But he made money. Like,
He
he
made
did a
about-
really good job.
He made about $500,000 in '95, and then the business started to decline in the beginning of '96. And now the job that he had, it's obsolete now because they can test those boards with machines now. He did make good money, but she was spinning it up left and right. Now Darren today, he owns Netcom Communications in Lubbock, and he's making more money now than he did before he was with Darlie. I mean, he built $1 million ranch in Lubbock, Texas. They used to call Darlie "Shop Till You Drop Darlie."
Okay. Hang on. My vape is running low.
That's the bad thing about those vapes. They'll run low on you, and the wick will go out. I tried it for a while.
What, vaping?
Yeah, I tried it to try and quit, and it was great for a while until you'd be out somewhere and it just would go out on you. So I wouldn't.
I agree. I do
So,
both. I gotta cut back my smoking again, though. My smoking's getting bad again.
yeah, smoking will kill you. It's bad. I wish I could quit. I've tried several times.
So Karen says that she believes they murdered their kids to keep up appearances because Darlie kicked up a fuss at one of her court appearances because her hair wasn't done.
Well, the person who is innocent until proven guilty has the right to not look so much like a criminal when they go in the court. I don't think it was a big deal that she didn't want to look, like Jodi Arias. I'll give you an example. Jodi Arias wore those glasses at her trial, but she didn't wear glasses. They wanted to make her look as innocent as they possibly could, and she had that right.
Okay.
She did throw a fit about not being able to have her hair washed and done. But
Well,
at that point, she was an innocent person.
That was something that really bothered me. And I made a big stink about it, and people got pissed at me for it. But all right, so I have twins, and then I had another little one. At no time in any of my pregnancies did I care what I look like at the hospital after I gave birth. At no time. And did I want pictures taken? No. Take pictures of the babies all you want. Leave me out of it.
Yeah.
But Darlie had her hair done, makeup done, everything. I run a twins group with over 12,000 moms. I took a poll. Who had their hair and makeup done after they gave birth? Like immediately. A very small handful, probably out of like 5,000 that answered, maybe like 300 said they did. Most of the moms said absolutely not. I didn't give a fuck what I look like.
Right. You just want that baby out of you.
I was like, I'm the same way. And if you go to Darlie Routier's innocent groups, they're all like, oh, well, we did our hair and makeup. Well, you're a fucking idiot then. Who cares what you look like? But a lot of people think differently.
I'll tell you another thing that's concerning to me is that shows that the marriage was in trouble during the night of this murder is that Darlie Routier had her wedding ring on the counter. And a lot of the supporters say, well, I take my wedding ring off at night. I've never heard of that. My wife wears hers all the time. She doesn't take hers off at night. The marriage was in trouble in the first place. And you have to understand this, too. And Darlie, if she was to pick up and leave there, and she wanted a divorce, if she was to pick up and leave there and she had no working skills, she would have to depend on Darren to take care of her because he was the moneymaker. And Darren's mother, Sorella, was a court-appointed child advocate. She worked for Children's Services. That's how she got custody of Drake. So she knew that if she left Darren, that she would lose custody of those kids because her mother did get custody of them. I mean, Darren's mother got custody of him. They would not give custody to Darren and Darlie Key because they were saying that she was innocent. They didn't feel like it was the best interest of the child to go to somebody that thought she was innocent.
All right. So now we have disputing facts that women should do hair and makeup. Allie said she did her hair and makeup when she was in labor. I've never been in labor. I have no idea what labor feels like. I don't even know what a contraction feels like. But I know that after giving birth to twins, I didn't give a fuck what I look like. Maybe it's different with natural childbirth. I don't know. But with the C-section, I did not care.
And that's just probably just a personal preference, and it doesn't really mean much to me that Darlie wanted to look her best. That doesn't make her seem guilty to me. What makes her seem guilty to me is where they say that she was this PTA mom, but nobody from the school ever showed up to say that she came to that she did the PTA. Walking around, there was people that said that she would walk around outside in two-piece bikinis, that she was always screaming at the boys. They had the guy from the pawn shop where she bought the necklace, and she was screaming at the boys in there, cussing at the boys. So she's not this model mother that they try to make her out to be. She's probably just a typical mom, but she wasn't this model mother that the supporters try to make her seem like.
Yeah, but a lot of people are like that. I mean, you see that all the time in Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not everyone doesn't care. Like, we don't. Some people have to put on these perfect lives on Facebook. Some people have to pretend that their world is peachy keen on Facebook. If not for Facebook, I don't think I would have sanely got through my custody fight. I mean, especially my twins group, when the whole thing first started in 2010, they saved me. Like, they kept my sanity. Strangers that I didn't even know on Facebook kept my sanity through my custody, through the worst parts of my custody fight. I am one of those people. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm using it as an outlet, just like I do YouTube. It's an outlet to express what I'm feeling. Like, there's no reason to fake it. However, a lot of people do fake it. So I don't blame her for that part of it, because a lot of people do that. You see moms all the time doing that.
I can give you an example of her mothering. She said on the stand that her stepfather, Dennis Stahl, started to molest her from the age 8 on, and that he was sexually, touching her and fondling her, and that she reported this to her mother, and her mother did nothing about it. But there was one Mother's Day where she let her boys spend the night with the man that she claimed was molesting her as a child while she went to see male strippers, the Chippendales. And that shows me a huge error in her parenting right there. If the man is molesting you, then why do you let your kids even go around him? And this is all from testimony as well.
Okay. Now, Tom had a good point. He said they were talking about separation or divorce that night. Sounds like a lot of other cases. It does, but usually they kill a spouse. So I agree with you, though.
Well, the thing of it is, in the first initial statements that they written down to the police, they didn't mention that they were arguing that night. They didn't mention any of that. They said that she said that she kissed him and he went to bed and he said, "Dream about me." That doesn't sound like two people that were arguing that night. The reason that they wanted it kept out that they were arguing because it looks suspicious.
Okay. But now my flip question is, see, Kevin, I don't agree with that. I think Darren had something to do with it. I don't think she did this alone. I don't think she's smart enough to do this alone. I really believe Darren had something to do with it.
If she's not smart enough to leave it alone, that's why her staging didn't work.
Katrina said, but neither of them are reliable witnesses for what happened that night, and I agree with that.
That's right.
Stephanie says, I think he knew. But Stephanie, let me ask you, though, if he knew, then why wouldn't he, if he knew and wasn't involved, why wouldn't he push it further? Like, why wouldn't he have stood up? Why would he have acted so over the top, like, oh my God, I can't live without her? Like, he was more upset over her than he was his own kids, which to me was as suspicious as her 911 call.
I believe that Darren tried to get in the ambulance, and they told him that there was no room. So he sat on the curb for 30 minutes, and he knew that he was going to lose his kids, maybe lose his wife, and I think he just weighed up his options. He's already lost his kids. He didn't want to lose his wife, And while he was sitting on that curb, Lieutenant Grant Jack he says that Darren looked up and said, "Wow, this is the biggest thing they ever hit Rowlett." I mean, they're just strange people, both of them. I believe that Darren tried to cover up for her, but I don't believe he had anything to do with those kids being killed. I believe he knew that she was in a bad spot. She may have said something to him, that we don't know about, like, if you try to leave me, I'll do this, blah blah blah. But I believe that as soon as he walked down those stairs, he knew exactly what she did.
So, all right. What about the fact, Janelle says, what about the fact that the husband looking for someone to redo the house over, which I agree with as well.
What do you mean redo the house over?
That he was looking at, like, he redid the house. He did a whole bunch of stuff on the house. I remember that.
He did all that before the murders. They were constantly adding wallpaper, adding carpet.
No, after the fact.
Well, they never spent another night in the house. Neither one of them. After that, he lost the house. They never spent another night in that house. Either one of them. So I don't understand. I don't understand the whole redoing the house because he lost it.
No, but I remember seeing that on a special though, that he was going to redo his house. He was looking to, I saw it on like Dateline or something, that he was going to redo stuff. Like I don't remember exactly. If you guys can help me out, it would be awesome.
I can tell you this.
But I do remember it.
I can tell you this. They were behind 2 months on the mortgage payments when the crimes happened, and they never paid another payment. So if he was going to redo the house, he would have had plans to keep it. He lost the house. He lost it. I'm not aware of this. I don't think I would want to live in that house after that happened.
Darlie had $250,000 in life insurance, maybe used chlorophyll to knock her out, and he let someone in to rob the place and things went wrong.
He could have let someone in, but the chlorophyll would have showed up in her airstream, and she had nothing in her toxicology but those diet pills that she was on. Chlorophyll, I mean, she went to the hospital pretty quickly, and there would have been, chlorophyll or xylene. Xylene is another thing they say that she could. It would have left a smell. It would have left a burn mark, and it would have been in her bloodstream, and it wasn't. These are my opinions, though.
There's a Dateline episode on YouTube if you search her name. Just smoke more weed. I hear it makes you sleep well. Money was motive. There's some theory, Scoobs, that money was motive. Not everyone buys that theory because there wasn't that much money involved, but people have said that that's the reason for it to begin with.
Well, Darlie had Darren, when he graduated from DeVry, he had a graduation party, and Darlie was upset that she wasn't getting all the attention, and she wanted to leave, and Darren didn't want to leave, so she walked home. And when she got home, she told Darren that some man jumped out and tried to attack her, which wasn't true. They didn't make a police report. So I think a lot of it was done. She may have wanted attention. She may have wanted to kill. It's possible that she wanted to kill herself and kill the kids to get back at Darren. That's called revenge, spousal revenge filicide. And if you look at Dr. Philip Resnick, he's an expert on filicide, and he'll tell you that more women kill their kids than men do.
Okay.
But now we've got Chris Watts and this other, so.
Oh, what happened?
I hear you.
No, I can hear you, but my screen just went full screen. Whoops.
Whoops.
No, I don't know how to. That was weird.
I sure would like to see her get another trial, and my basis for this is that the evidence will still show that she did it. She will be done with her appeals, and we can be done talking about this.
And Brady, that's like way old, but I'll give you a brief synopsis. She was arrested like 20 years ago. She's on death row. She absolutely deserves to be there. They had plenty of evidence to prove that she killed her own kids. So the murder was for her to be the center of attention again. That's what people say, Tim, is she wouldn't be the first. Heather said, did they only find blood from one of the boys on the knife, implying a different knife was used on the other boy? Would Darlie really have thought to use a different knife on the other boy? Darren, help.
They did only find one boy's blood on the knife, but back then they only tested 4 points of that knife. They didn't test the whole 8 points. If they would have, if we don't know if there was any other blood on there or not, because they only tested a certain amount. Now, if you plunge a bloody knife into a body, when you pull it out, a lot of that blood is going to be left inside that body, and that's forensics.
But why? Okay, so now it goes back to why she deserves another trial. Why not test all the blood?
Well, the thing with the knife is, when Mosty, her public appointed attorney, he was showing the knife to the jury, and while he was showing the knife to the jury, he cut himself with it. So the state says no, it's contaminated, which is true. Things have changed since '96. Another thing they didn't do is take the boys' fingerprints. They bagged them up. They didn't scrape under their nails. There was a lot of stuff that they didn't do then that they do now. They dug the boys up in 2002. They were buried holding hands, and they had to literally cut their hands off. But since the tomb was compromised by water, they couldn't get a print or anything there. They were trying to show that fingerprint 85J that they find on the glass table. They were trying to show that it was dangerous. So a lot of things have changed since then.
Now, are they going to do any additional DNA testing now that it's more available than it was then?
They're working on additional DNA testing now, but the fact of the matter is that all those results are sealed to the public. So we won't know them right away, which is, I think that it's kind of crappy that all these people are giving money to Darlie and her family get this testing done, and they're not going to be able to see the result. I think it's kind of crappy. Darlie has to prove actual innocence. That means she has to prove that someone wasn't in the house that wasn't supposed to be there with a name. That's the only thing that's going to exonerate her.
All right. Well, Jetty Scoobs wants to know, he's still stuck on that how has she not been executed yet? But who wants her to stay in prison and not be executed? Because it has been 20 years. How come her appeals have not gone through yet? Like, why?
Because she's got a good attorney, J. Stephen Cooper, and his job is to delay. Darlie has been given plenty of chances to prove that she didn't do this. What Darlie doesn't want to happen, she doesn't want to get out of the death penalty and go to general population. Going to general population for Darlie is the death sentence, because those women in there will take care of her. We know about inmate justice.
So Scoops now wants to know, what's the difference between, say, 45-year sentence or a death sentence?
A 45-year sentence would mean that she would be in general population, and a death sentence means that she's on death row where she's safe. There's only probably 8 other girls in there with her. She's safe. She's not in the population. These women would kill her. It's like if Chris Watts right now, for example, he's never going to be in the general population. These men will kill him. She's safe.
See, I always thought, though, and Chris Watts told me differently, but I always thought, and I always believed, that death row, you speak to nobody. You are in your cell 23 hours a day. It's almost like when you're in the hole. I can't think of the word. But when you're in the hole, you're in 23 hours a day. You're allowed out for 1 hour a day. That is all you get. You get no privileges. You get no TV. You get no anything.
Darlie can get out for church services. She can get out to make crafts. They get out once in a while. That's how she developed this close relationship with Lisa Coleman, who they did execute, because they were able to come out of their cell. They still are able to communicate with each other. It's almost
thank you, Tim. I couldn't think of the word.
Or seclusion, but they do have time to get out. It's not very much time, but you can see through the supporters would tell you that Darlie got out to do crafts. She got out for church services, but it's all within the unit right there. They're not getting out in the general population. But no, it's very limited how much they get out.
So, but then what's the like part of being on death row? Like I always said, I would never ever want to go to death row because you don't get out. But if she's doing crafts and everything else, then what makes that any different than general population?
Well, because there's only 8 other people in death row with her. You know, there's not that many upset women. Most of the women, all the women that are on death row are in there for murder. So if they put her in general population, say a woman that's in there for drug dealing or burglary or something, and that woman misses her kids, and she sees that woman that killed her kids,
Yeah.
and she's a high profile. So who doesn't want to be the one that takes her out? Who didn't want to be the one like Charles Manson? They kept him locked up like that because every time they put him in general population, somebody tried to kill him. And Jeffrey Dahmer, they put him in general population, and somebody did kill him. You know, they're supposed to keep him safe.
All right. But like I said, I just always thought that death row was death row. Like you're fucked. Like, 23 hours a day, you're locked up. If she's doing crafts and doing a hair and interacting with other people, I don't see why that's so bad to be on death row. Like, it's actually better for her because she's segregated and then she can make lifelong friends. And you know what I'm saying?
And it may be actually better for her to be on death row because she's safer.
But why do we care that she's safe? She murdered her 2 innocent kids.
Well, because they can't, again with Chris Watts, they moved him to a completely different state. He was convicted on a state crime, but they moved him to a different state because they want him to be safe. They are not allowed to let him throw him to the wolves. They're not allowed to do that. But if you look at the case of Ariel Castro, and when they put him in the hole at CRC here in Ohio, and he came up dead. And people who know me know that I've done time, and I've done time in that same prison where Ariel Castro was killed, and I've been in the hole there, and you're not allowed to take sheets down in the hole with you. So the people hated Ariel Castro so bad. I personally believe that the COs helped him end his life. You're not allowed to have a sheet in there. Ariel Castro didn't last very long. That's what I'm saying. But now these days prisons are not like what they used to be. It used to be hard time. You didn't get nothing. They talk to you like crap.
That's what I'm saying.
I tell you, people that know me know that my son is doing a life sentence. He's getting a phone put in his room. He's got an MP3 player where he can watch Netflix and play games. And when I did my time, that was something that was, you had to fight to get on the damn phone. All Ohio prisons are going to have phones in their cells. It's just not like what it used to be.
Yeah, no, that's not. Like Marissa, death row is where you want to be. Best healthcare, best psych care, TVs, entertainment, etc. They can't kill you if you're unhealthy.
Right. They get more attention, they take care of the death row inmates more because there's so few of them. Especially with high profile cases, like they know everybody's watching Darlie. They can't put her in a position where she gets killed by another inmate. They can't do it.
You want to hear something interesting, though, which I just learned today? Alabama has the highest rate of inmate deaths than any other state in the nation. I just learned that today.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Do.
I wouldn't doubt it because it's hot in the summertime down there.
It's not hot, it's freezing.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, like Katrina said, in California, they give inmates tablets. My son has a tablet. He's doing life sentence. My son has a tablet where he can literally watch Netflix. He can't get on Facebook. He doesn't have any social media, but he can play games. He listens to music. They walk around with his tablets. He's got a TV. It's like club fed for him. And I'm telling him, I said, you're lucky. It's not like what it used to be.
No, but I still wouldn't want to be in jail for life.
No.
I don't care how nice they may have it.
I honestly believe that if you don't do anything to get put in jail for life, then you wouldn't be there.
I agree. But Tim, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, they're never going to fix the prison system. In my personal opinion, and this is just a personal opinion, I really truly believe, besides public defenders, the biggest problem why people constantly go back to jail, and again, this is personal opinion, is medication. When they go to jail, they get medical, they get medicine. When I did my 30 days, I can't even tell you almost every single girl was on medicine. I can guarantee you those girls were not getting this medicine outside of prison walls because you need Medicaid, you need kids, you need this, you need insurance. I can assure you they weren't getting it. Same thing with the guys. Like, obviously, I wasn't in a male prison, but I guarantee you that all these guys that get all these drugs in prison and they're great, soon as they get on the street, they're not given these drugs anymore. And I'm talking the ones that are guilty. I don't mean guys that are innocent. I'm talking ones that are guilty, that are on medicine or have mental illness problems, and kill because of it or rob a bank or drugs or whatever. Soon as they get back on the street, there's no drugs anymore. Now, all of a sudden, they're there to fend for themselves. And now they're going back to prison because that's where they feel good. Not because they don't know any better or because they're institutionalized, because that's where they get the medicine. That's a personal opinion.
There's a difference between being convicted and being rescued. Some people were rescued, literally.
Falcon, to answer your question, I've said it before because I'm a hardened criminal. I was in a custody fight for 6 years, and it was my third offense of not giving my child to his dad because he set up a whole scenario, and I went to jail for 30 days. First time a judge let me off. Second time I did 48 hours. Third time I did 30 days. It was a total civil issue. It was ridiculous, but I did my time. That's why I did 30 days.
30 days isn't that bad.
I learned a lot. It was horrible, but it was relaxing. We watched Lifetime movies from 7 in the morning to like 10 at night. Then lockdown. The worst part about it was having to yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like, get the fuck out of here. Just let me.
I tell you, Lord, when I did my time, I did 2.5 years. And when I did my time, if you even looked at a CO the wrong way, you would get a ticket for reckless eyeball, and that could get you thrown in the hole for 30 days. Just for looking at it. If they tell you to do something, you give them a shitty look, that's 30 days. I'll tell you what prison did for me. It sure made me not want to go back. It sure made me want to walk the line.
That's what I said. When I walked out, all like the regulars were like, we don't ever want to see you come back. I said, you don't have to worry because my ass will never be back here.
It was called reckless.
Give your son to his dad if he's, don't come back. I said, trust me, I'm not coming back. I don't ever want to come back. But I mean, I got along. I could get along anywhere, whether it's in prison or in a country club. I could mend in with anybody.
I had more problems with the COs than I ever did with the inmate.
I know COs were nice.
The COs where I was at were just shitty. I mean, they were just horrible. They would bring their personal problems into the prison with them, and they knew they could take it out on them. And a whole nother story is I was wrongfully convicted. I still did my time, but that's a different story. I know how the justice system works, and I do know that people can be wrongfully convicted.
Oh, absolutely wrongly convicted. Everyone that I was in jail with was innocent until you got to know them, and I was looking at their cases because I was helping all of them with their cases, and they got fucking railroaded by public defenders. Yeah. But some of them, a lot of them were meth labs. They took raps for their boyfriend with meth labs and shit. But it was funny because it's just like they were happy if they were only getting a year. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of this 30 days. Like, counting the days as they went on. And it's just, I couldn't even imagine.
Well, I wrote my own chance to repeal my case. I wrote my own. I was looking at 15 years. I wrote my own, and I went back to see the judge, and they let me out of a 15-year sentence after 2.5 years. So I lucked out, and I walked the line since then.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. Hey, Phoebe, I couldn't even imagine doing more than 30 days. Like, I was pulling my hair out. I cried for like the first 2 days, and everyone's like, toughen up, toughen up. You're here, you're not going anywhere. I freaked out. called my lawyer. I'm not a fucking criminal. Why am I in here with criminals? It was bad. But I got through it. You know, you learn to get along, you eat a lot of ramen noodles. Everyone kept giving me money. And the last day I told everyone, here you go, guys. You can have all my shit. I am out.
Is that Charla? I'm from Dayton. I see Ohio here.
Yeah, I'm out.
The thing with Darlie about being in prison, she's comfortable there. She was complaining one time that she only had $4,600 in her account. People sent her money, so she's comfortable.
It's crazy. I you know, the one thing that people don't realize though, and even being in county for 30 days, you're in cement walls and your whole outside life doesn't exist. Like you get so used to those walls and there's no sun. I mean, there's a little sun, but it's like really high above. There's no light. You never get full darkness. Like you hear screaming, you know, on the other side, and you always got to watch your back. Like it's just so weird. Like, and then even after 30 days, you go out and you're like, oh my God, like it takes you a minute to even adjust to the real world again. I can't even imagine doing like 15 years behind those walls. And then all of a sudden, boom, you know, I'm free again. Like I couldn't even imagine.
It's like my son's 23 years old. And he'd never been in trouble before. And he'd never been locked up, never been arrested, and now he's doing life.
It's what?
I was saying that my son had never been in trouble before, and never been arrested, anything like that. And his first crime, he's life.
That's crazy.
And he did what he did. Yeah, we got to talk on the phone a little bit, and the thing with the commissary, where somebody said they have a $100 limit in California, they have a limit on what you can spend at the commissary, but you can have as much as you want in your account.
I know you couldn't in county. I don't know about the real prison.
Well, if you can have $100,000 in your account, but you can only spend, $50, $100 a week at the commissary. They wouldn't let you spend that much.
Yeah, but you don't want anyone to know you have a lot of money because they'll try to take it.
Yep, they will. Because when you go to check your account, you have to go up to the CO and ask them to pull up your account. If there's somebody else standing around there and they know you got money, they're going to extort you. They're going to try to.
So now people want to know, I knew it was going to come up. If you don't mind talking about it, people are asking, what did your son do?
My son, now, I spent years as an advocate for murdered children. I've covered the Cooper Harris case, Halo Stutzman. I spent years on it. And my son is convicted of killing a 2-year-old little boy, his stepson.
And you believe it was an accident?
Well, he's my son. I want to believe it was an accident. I know he's guilty. I want to believe that he accidentally got too rough with this child and he caused a concussion that killed him. I kept trying to tell him, just tell the truth, take the deals. They were offering him deals left and right, and he wouldn't take it. He didn't listen to me. And the evidence, it's all on my YouTube channel. The evidence clearly shows me, I wanted him to be innocent. But he's not. And
he had never been in trouble. He was young, right?
23, never violent. Even the mother of this child said he never even yelled at this little boy. And when I saw them interact, he only lived a block away from me. And when I saw him interact, I mean, this little boy was so sweet. And he always called Luke daddy. And I never saw him, and even the mother said he never raised his hand to me. He never yelled at this child. He just never did. And it's so sad to me that, okay, I believe that he got angry, and I believe that he went to toss the little boy in the bed, and he hit his head and cracked his head open. Instead of doing the right thing and saying, hey, I caused this, blah, 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 he denied it the whole time. And he could have got an involuntary manslaughter and ended up with about 8 years. And, I'm telling you, I'll be honest about it. These Darlie supporters, as soon as they found out that my child had killed a little boy, man, they ate that up. And now that's what I get. when I'm in debate with any, well, your son, you raised a child killer. No, I didn't raise a child killer. He was never was around violence. Never. They had a pretty good relationship. So I don't understand why it happened. I don't support what he did. I absolutely hate what he did. But that's my son. You know, I'm going to take care of him while he's in there. The first thing the Darlie supporters did, the very day after this child died, was set up a group called Justice for Braden, which was nothing but bashing me, try to kill the Mexican. But that it used to bother me, and it doesn't now because I would never encourage anybody to hurt a child, never.
And I understand that. But Scoobs, the accidents do happen as well, though. But I get what you're saying. But accidents do happen.
Unfortunately, you know, the child's name is Braden Ferguson. He had already had a skull fracture. He was a very frail little boy. Luke shouldn't have been rough with him if he was. He's never admitted it to me. I'm trying to get him to admit it to me because he knows if he admits it to me, first thing I'm going to do is I told him, I told him, you know, don't confess to me because I'm going to tell on you. You know, because that's a child. When this happened to him, he only lived a block away from me. He come over here. He came into this house. His dad, something happened to Brady. You know, and it just turned us all upside down. But you can see that
took responsibility, right?
He never took responsibility.
He didn't?
No, he's still saying he didn't do it. He's still saying he didn't do it. And he was not raised around any type of violence. There was nothing in the household. That's why I think it was an accident. You know, I hate what he did, but I love my son. You can't just turn that off. These Darlie supporters expect me to just hate my son like I hate other child killers. But you know, if you're a good parent, you don't turn that off. You don't. He knows how I feel. He knows I think he's guilty. I don't want to hear that shit from him. He knows better.
How did he get life instead of manslaughter?
Because he didn't take the deal. He was saying he didn't do it. They wanted him to take first they offered him 11 years, and he wouldn't take it. And then they offered him 15 years. The deal keeps going up as you go. Then they offered him 15 years, and he wouldn't take it. Then at the third day of the trial, they said, "Well, look, we'll give you 20 years right now if you just admit to it." And he just would not admit that he did anything. He wouldn't admit it. You know, and at first I thought maybe it had something to do with it because, you know, she was there during the timeline. She was there, but she had left the house for about an hour and come back, and that's what happened.
But James, I agree with James. If they offered him 3 different deals, are you absolutely positive he did do it?
The evidence, you know, we had a good lawyer, and he could have raised enough reasonable doubt to show because the timeline when Kelsey had left the house, her name was Kelsey, the injury happened within the timeline that she was still there. But the 911 call also is on my thing. You could tell from Kelsey that she didn't do anything to her child, you know, after you look at it. But they could have placed enough reasonable doubt. They were worried about they could have placed reasonable doubt on that. And they kept offering deals because they didn't want to take it all the way to trial. I mean, you know. And even during the trial, you know, they offered him 20 years, and he just wouldn't take it. He couldn't bring himself to admit that he hurt his child. He couldn't do it. Someday he will. Now he goes up to the parole board in 2034. He thinks that he's going to get out. He thinks he's going to get out in 2034. I told him, that parole board, you don't admit what you did, they are not going to let you out ever.
That's true too.
And he doesn't like to hear it from me because I'm the only one that gives it to him straight.
But, you know, Travis has a good point, though. Lots of reversals based on bad science on shaken baby syndrome, skull fracture baby death. And he's right. There's a lot of times that people are wrongly convicted of child deaths.
Well, the thing that didn't do it. My son's name is Luke. And the thing that got him is during his police interrogation, he said that when Kelsey left the house, interacting with Braden and that Braden was talking to him, he said he was perfectly fine. The medical evidence, no, he's not showing any remorse. The medical evidence showed that after he received this skull fracture in the back of his head, that he would not be able to interact with anybody. Even our state's witness, our witness, said he wouldn't be able to interact with nobody. But they had Luke saying he was perfectly fine when she left. And then he was fine when she left. That right there tells me, the medical evidence tells me that he did it. And there's a lot of people out there that are good parents that have a child that's done something like this. And they try to blame, a lot of people try to blame me for his upbringing and everything. I'm not responsible for anything he did after he was grown.
Absolutely not. And
I did have some words with the family. The first thing they did, he didn't turn himself in immediately either. He ran from it for a day. People don't give me much credit because I took the police right to where he was at, and I brought his ass down there to them. I said, you need to face this music now. You didn't do anything wrong, then you're going to be fine, but you cannot run from this. I'm the one who turned him in. That's in the – they don't give me any credit for that. I wasn't letting it happen. Now, would it be different for me if let's say he got into a fight with a grown man and, he killed a guy? Well, maybe I wouldn't have been so adamant about turning him in. That's just the truth. But this is a baby. This is something I hate. And then it happens to me. So I kind of understand how Darlie Key feels. But the difference between me and Darlie Key is I'm not still sitting out here saying she's innocent when I know he's guilty.
See that to me shows your character, because most parents, regardless what their kid says, most parents would automatically say my kid's innocent. My kid would never do that. My kid, it must be her. Like, it could never be my kid. In my opinion, Brian, it takes a real fucking man to stand up and say, yes, my kid did that, even when the kid is saying they're innocent. That not only says something about your character as a father, but as a man and as a person. I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that if I knew my son killed a kid or my daughter killed a baby. I don't know if obviously you don't know if you're in the position, but I mean, it takes a real strong motherfucker to be able to sit there and say, yes, my kid did it, when your kid is innocent, when your kid is claiming he's innocent.
I'll tell you what,
that says a lot about you, Brian, and that's why I've always loved you.
Before he went to court, I like you too. And before court, before he was convicted, I stuck up for him being innocent because he was telling me this, and I wasn't able. It took me a while to get my hands on all the documents and stuff. But as the documents started coming in, I had it out with my ex-wife and my other boys, and I said, look, he fucking did this. And I'm not paying shit. I'm not paying for an attorney. I'm not doing none of this because he did this. And then it came back to, well, maybe she could have done it. I was tore up there for a while. It took me sitting through the whole trial. Now I got thrown out of the trial. It took me sitting through all the evidence and watching everything after I got the videos. The whole trial is on my YouTube. It took me sitting through that, and I was like, he fucking did it. And there's no way that I'm going to sit here and try and defend a child killer that I know is guilty. I'm not going to do it. I don't care if it's my son or not. But when he calls and says, Dad, I need money, I need this, I need you to come see me, I do that. That's my son. And you can't just switch that off. And sometimes I look at it kind of funny, how are you capable of this? But I do know this. I do believe in my heart that it was something that he did not intend to do, because I saw them two interact with each other. And matter of fact, I saw Kelsey be a little more mean to Braden than I ever did my son. But I don't believe Kelsey did it. It was either him or her. And I don't believe she did it.
That's got to be tough on all aspects, but much love and much respect. Honestly, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could openly admit my kid killed a kid. I just don't know. Brian, what is your channel?
It's just my name, Bryan St. John. and I do true crime, and I cook. I do a lot of different stuff on my channel, so it's a variety. And I'm gonna give Darlie Keys some credit. She says you don't know how you act until something like this happens to you. And at first, I was kind of inappropriate with it, because I got the Ferguson family. We all were friends. We all lived within a mile of each other. We were friendly families. And the first thing they did is put a big picture of him up on Facebook, find this son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait a minute, don't do that. We don't know anything. So I had some words with them, and these people are still kind of harassing me a little bit. They're doing it in fake names and stuff like that. And it's okay. I mean, that's part of having a child who did something like this. Some people are just going to put the hate off on you because you got to put it somewhere. And I tell them, look, if you got a problem, then write Luke. Go see Luke writing, because I didn't do it. I didn't want him to do it. I would do anything for Braden Ferguson and never have been hurt. Never.
Do you know what, though? Parents, someone said it before. I don't remember who said it. Parents can't be responsible for what their adult children do. We want to be responsible and we want to take, responsibility, but we can't be responsible. As my dad said, and I will never, ever, ever forget this, it was probably the best advice he had ever given me. All parents fuck up their kids in some which way, shape, or form. What you try to do is you try to do your best that they don't go over the edge. But once you become a parent, Laura, you will totally understand that every single parent fucks up their kids in one way or another. And he's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was the best advice he ever gave me, and he was dead on. I was 28 years old when he gave me that advice, and he was right.
My dad was really strict. My mother was really strict with us. And he tried to teach us the right things. And I was a rebellious teenager. I didn't listen to nobody. And he tried, and he never gave up. And to this day, my dad still gives me good advice. I'd probably be at a better spot in my life if I would listen to my father when I was younger. But I do well now, and I don't have much respect for the justice system, because I know that I do know that people can be put in prison for things they didn't do, and that's why when people say Darlie might not have done this, I believe that people are wrongfully convicted, but just not in this case. Like David, I'll give you an example. David Cam, I always felt like he was innocent from the get-go, and it took him 3 trials, and they proved he was innocent. And then
Who?
David Cam.
I don't know who that is.
Evansville, Indiana. He was a police officer who was accused of killing his wife and 2 kids. It took him 3 different trials to get out. It's an interesting case. David Cam was also, when he came out, he went to work for Innocence Everywhere, and one of the things that he was supposed to do was look into Darlie Routier case and show that she was innocent. He took one look at that case and he backed off of it. And the supporters know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's another case, Hannah Overton, where the little boy got into the salt, and he died because of it. They said she poisoned him. I believe that she was innocent right off the bat. It took her 7 years to prove that she was innocent. But in Darlie's case, I believe that she did it. Everything, all my instincts tells me that she did it. All the evidence tells me that she did it. Now, at this point, when I was a supporter, I was going only on emotion. Now, nobody wants to believe that a mother could do this to their kids. And I felt like Darren did it. I felt like Darren set this thing up and that it went bad. But I never looked at the evidence. And then once I started looking at the evidence, okay, if you set your house up for a robbery, why does that person come in your house and see these people laying there and not just leave? They know they're going to get caught. Why would they walk past a $6,000 women's Rolex watch if they were there to rob? If Darren set it up, okay, this is what I know now. If Darren set it up, he would have had them do it at a time that they weren't there. They were planning a trip to Pennsylvania to go to Altoona, and that would have been a perfect time for somebody to come rob your house. Erica Baker, the one here in Dayton, Erica Baker. You know what? That's the one you're talking about, Phyllis. You're talking about Erica Baker, the girl here from Kettering that came up missing.
Wow, you were like right on that before I even had a chance to say anything.
Well, I'm trying to read it too. That's a case here in town. Well, you know what? I was in jail with one of the guys that was accused of that, and before I could answer that question, I'd have to dig into that case where I might say something that's wrong. But I could say that those boys snatched her up and killed her. And the guy's name, I'm trying to remember what his name was, Christian something or other. Gabriel. I was in jail with one of those guys. Yeah, I'd have to look into this. I'd have to look at that. That's not far from my house. And Phyllis, my wife is from Kid City.
Yeah, I don't know that case.
Yeah,
You guys know a lot of cases. I really don't know a lot of cases.
You know what? I've always been fascinated with crime and true crime, even as a kid. One of the first books I ever read was Vince Bugliosi's Helter Skelter. And then I just always have been wanting to know what makes somebody want to tick. How could you hurt somebody that way? What makes you crazy? And I've always, like I said, even as a kid.
See, mine first was Son of Sam. My first book ever on serial killers was about Son of Sam.
Berkowitz. I think he was I think that he was jealous because he couldn't get into a relationship with a female. I think
he was crazy.
Yeah, he was creepy. And I followed these cases even as a kid, and my mom thought it was weird, but I was also a real strong Kennedy assassination buff, even as a kid. I just want to know what makes people tick. What can make somebody be that crazy they want to hurt somebody like that? It was just people are fascinated by things that they don't understand. And that's why we come to true crime, because most of us that are in these groups here could never do anything like that. You could never hurt someone like that. And we just want to know what it's all about.
I think I could stab my ex 50 times and feel good about it. I really do.
It depends on how somebody's treated you, but I've been in bad relationships too, and I've never.
I think I could. Funny story. During our custody fight, I had this dream that I stabbed him I think it was 74 times over him, and there was blood everywhere. And I was enjoying doing it, and I was telling my shrink that I felt the blood and everything, and it felt so good. And I stood over him laughing, and my shrink said, "You called this a dream?" I said, "Yeah, it was a dream. It was a weird dream, but it was a dream." Because I'm going to prescribe you some Xanax because that would be a nightmare, not a dream. I said, "Oh, fuck no, that was a dream and it felt good." He thought I was crazy.
The difference between normal people and psychotic people are that we'll have thoughts like that. We just don't act on them.
That's true.
We just don't act on them.
That's very true.
I've really been with women in my past that have, or there's been guys that I just want. My mind is saying you just want, but you just don't. You restrain it. You don't accept that thought. You calm down after a while. Like, okay, this is where's the line at where you come out of reality and actually act on it. You don't act on it. Normal people don't act on that.
That's true.
Jolene Ritchie. She's talking about Jolene Ritchie. Okay, I know that case back and forth because I know Jolene Ritchie. I know Scott Washball, and I know Indian. Yeah, I knew Vern Brooks. Matter of fact, that the house is. I don't live far from the Hubert Avenue where it's at. Jolene Ritchie. She got caught sleeping with Samantha. Came walking down in the basement. She was sleeping with the neighbor. She swung back at her to get her to Samantha, and she hit her in the head with a cask. With her cast that she had on her arm. I know that family. I know. I went to school with Scott. I knew Jolene. I believe she's only got maybe 10, 15 more years.
Hold on. Travis wants to know what came of the DNA testing on bloody fingerprint in Darlie's case. And do you know who Stephanie wanted me to look at a case, but I've never heard the name. So I was wondering if you knew it. I just saw it. Stephanie, repeat that case again.
Well, when she brings that case up, the testing that he's talking about on the fingerprint, they're trying to get that. They're trying to get that print run. There's some experts that say that it can't be identified, and there's other experts that say that it can. Kelly Lane, that's one I don't know.
And Kelly Lane, do you know that one?
Yeah, that's one I don't know.
I don't know that one either.
Yeah, I don't know that one. And Kevin's right. There's no male DNA on that 85J. And I'll tell you another thing. When I left support for Darlie, one of the things that Darlie Key did, because she knew I had Texas roots, she knew I'd been to the house, she demanded that I turn in my fingerprint to have it compared with 85J, and basically accused me of killing these two little boys. So not only did I now think that she was guilty, I now had her mother accusing me publicly of the crime. Boy, did she create a monster in that one. That was the worst thing she could have ever done to me. I said, you know what? I'm going to dive into this case, and I'm going to show not only did I not do it, that she did it. That was in writing. Missing Baby Tegan, I've heard of that one. Darlie Key flat accused me of it. Darlie Key and I used to be friendly. You know, I used to be friendly with all of them. When she accused me of that, it was a little more personal. It sure was.
Stephanie, I just looked it up. She's out in 3 years anyway.
Yeah, I don't. That's probably why I don't know the Kelly Lane case, because I generally stick to cases that are here in the States.
Yeah, no, plus she's out soon.
Right. It's easier to get a hold of the documents if it's a North American case, so you can study it, than it is to get something that's overseas. That's probably the only reason. You know, like the Amanda Knox case, I kind of followed that. But, you know, I think Amanda Knox is innocent. But that's like the only one that I really followed that was overseas. She sure accused me of it, Tom. She was very upset that I left support. They were all upset that I left support. I left support because, and people ask me this all the time, why did you leave support? Well, like I said, I was friendly with Darlie Key. And we saw, it's probably 10 years ago, we saw that Darren put up a Facebook page. And on that Facebook page, it didn't mention anything about his boys, nothing about she's innocent, none of it. So I messaged Darlie Key. And I said, did you see Darren's Facebook page? And she went over there, took a look, and she was really upset by it because it didn't mention anything about the boys. She said we were talking a little bit. She was very upset about his page. And she goes, you know what? I always thought he did it. I always thought he did it. And I'm a supporter now at that time. So I got to talking in a group, a support group that I ran, Free Darlie. And, you know, I asked people, did you see Darren's, you know, Facebook? Why doesn't it mention the kids? Blah, blah, blah. And back then, you never would accuse Darren. That was taboo. You didn't accuse Darren. And so they were getting in my shit, you know, like, why are you bringing this up about Darren? I said, well, the reason I'm here is because I think Darren did it. You know, I think he had it set up. And they started giving me shit about that. You know, why would you blame Darren? Blah, blah. I said, now, hold on now. Wait a minute now, because Darlie Key thinks he did it too. And Darlie Key came into that support group and said, I don't think he did that. I never said that to you. So I took the message that she just got done sending me. I always thought he did it. And I put it in the room. And instead of, you know, because I caught her in a lie. So they all started to attack me about that. Why are you messing with Darlie Key? And I'm like, that's when it started to ring a bell. I'm like, why is she lying? Why does she have to tell this lie? I know she's lying. She knows she's lying. So I didn't leave support right away. I just went on to a different group. Well, Pamela Lakes Collins, you can find her at Justice for Devin and Damon. If you think I know this case, I had to consult before I came on here. I consulted with her to freshen myself up. She knows this case back and forth and knows the exact where the trial I mean, she knows it. But Pamela came into my Free Darlie group. I didn't leave support just because Darlie said that. I just stayed away from Darlie Key. But she
why does Darlie have the same name as her daughter? I always wondered that.
There's four of them. There's a great grandmother, a grandmother, Darlie, and Darlie. There's four of them named Darlie.
Why?
I have no idea. But you got to think about the names. Devin, Damon, their dog's name was Domain, Darren. You know, the sister's name was Dana, Danelle. It's all D names. Pamela, you know, Laura gives me a lot of credit for knowing this case. But I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Pamela Lakes Collins, Christine Foger, Mary Moody, some of these women that are still in these groups today, they wanted, you know, I threw Pam out of Free Darlie. I said, if you say Darlie's guilty one more time, I'm gonna kick your ass out of her. And she did it. So I threw her out. But she didn't give up. And she started to show me the facts and show me the facts. And I already had Darlie Key lying to me. And she started showing me. And then just one day, it just hit me like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. There's no way you could argue as a Darlie Routier supporter and be able to stand on that argument. That's why most of them, most of them, not all of them, get pissed off when you keep showing them the facts. They don't want to hear it. You know, to this day, when I show a fact or I get to arguing with one of them, they say, "Well, your son killed a baby." You know, I'm like, okay, is that going to get Darlie out or or what? So I didn't have it. So I said, you know what? I can't do this no more. I don't think she's innocent. I said, I gave it to David Moff. I gave the group to David Moff. He runs it now. And he's been running it ever since I've been gone.
That's so crazy.
Well, they just don't have a whole lot to argue. Anything that someone throws at me on the innocence, I can very well argue it. I can show logic and reasoning that she's guilty. But if they were to show me something that looked like Bernard brought up Bernard Phillips. I wish he would have came in here. He put up this video in the 911 call where Darren, you can hear him in the 911 call. He goes, "What's this sound like to you, Bryan?" And I said, it sounds like he's saying, "Oh my God, Blake came in here." And I had to agree with him because it did sound like that.
So Tom said, Travis, we already answered that, but Travis wants to know, do you think behavior at the grave ceremony, silly strings, should have been admissible?
Yes, anything that shows character and behavior immediately after the crime or before the crime is admissible. That's my opinion.
And Tom said Darren ran into the hospital room when Basia was with Darlie alone. It was classic. She said she didn't tell me anything, Darren.
That's what Basia told me. Tom must have seen my video with Basia. Basia also told me that when she came over to the house on June the 5th, that Darren and Darlie had been arguing all week long. She said that Darlie was literally sharpening her knives. And that they were arguing, but Darlie was getting ready to make supper, so I'm not going to make it sound so dramatic. But she was literally standing there sharpening her knives, arguing with Darren. She said that she went outside because they were arguing, and Damon was outside playing. And she said that while she was outside talking to Damon, she said that Damon told her, "I want to go home and spend the night with you tonight." And Basia said, "Well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to spend the night with me? I have to work tomorrow." And he goes, "Because Mommy's being mean to me." The very night of the murders. But Basia didn't say any of this on the stand. If the things that she was telling me in that interview, which was damning, it would have been great evidence. But she never said it on the stand. And I asked her during the interview, I said, "Why are you saying this on the stand?" She goes, Darlie was my friend, and I only wanted to answer questions that they asked of me. She didn't want to add to it. That's what she said, but she should have. Yep. Darlie,
Tom says she said her mom said something bad is going to happen tonight. Darlie was sharpening the knives. I never heard that.
Yep. They knew that something bad was going to happen because they had been arguing all week long. And you take into consideration, Darlie slept on that couch for a week. They knew that something was going to happen. And it did. Now, Kevin says Darlie claims she was barely functional at the graveside footage shows that it's false. Darlie said that she was so scared of this intruder person that she couldn't even go to the bathroom by herself. But you notice at the gravesite, she was just happy and giddy. They didn't have no police protection for her. I mean, it didn't look like somebody that had just lost 2 kids to me. She just didn't.
That's interesting.
I mean, I don't think that I would be able to act the same way Darlie did if something happened to my little girls. I don't think I would be able to do that.
I couldn't either.
You wouldn't catch me cracking a smile. You wouldn't catch me. If you haven't seen the entire graveside video, see what we normally see, what most people see is just a clip. Well, on my page, I've got the entire thing, and it's just they both are acting ridiculous to me. I've got the whole thing. It's way longer than what you normally see.
And it's and she's acting the same way she did in the video. You're saying she's acting differently.
It got even worse when they were doing that interview. It got even worse. Darren was acting. How can you smile and tells. I mean, the last thing I think I would want if something like this happened to me is a camera in my face. I wouldn't want to talk about it. And if I did have a camera in my face, I would use that opportunity to describe the intruder. This is what he looked like. If you've seen this, you let us know. Here's a number. They did none of that.
How many days after did they have the funeral?
That's you know what? That's a good question. I don't know the exact date the funeral was. I think it was 3 days. Normally it's three to 4 days.
Marissa said day 8.
Well, day 8 was when they had this the silly string party. That was 8 days after. They arrested her 4 days later.
And what about Travis wants to know who had the idea for the illegal wiretaps by role of police? What was the quality of the investigation by police?
The idea came up from Jimmy Patterson. He was a lead detective on that case, and the idea was to just go ahead and put it there. And they wanted to catch. They were hoping to catch somebody saying something they shouldn't have said, which that's real common.
Thank you, Phoebe.
Yeah, it's real common to do that. Now, if let's say they put that thing out there and they caught Darren saying something to Darlie like, "Hey, we got to cover this up," blah blah blah, then they would have solved the case. Then it wouldn't be so bad. They wasn't illegal. Like Kevin says, it wasn't illegal. Darlie Key and Darren tried to sue the city of Rowlett, saying that their privacy was invaded. But when you're in public, you have no expectation of privacy. They tried to sue the city. Yeah, Mulder could have done a better job for her, but I honestly think that he knew that she was guilty. He could have done a better job for her. Darren really thought that she was going to be. We hired the best. He was the best. Doug Mulder had Greg Davis's job at one point. He was under Henry Wade. Henry Wade would have been the one who prosecuted Lee Harvey Oswald. And while Lee Harvey Oswald was in jail, James Cron, who did Darlie's case, was a jailer who was actually walking around with him. It's kind of odd how that goes back to Oswald.
Yes, Marissa, it was Mulder from the X-Files. You got it.
Mulder,
Katrina, I was thinking the exact same thing as you wrote it. Why would Darren think she was going to be acquitted?
Because he thought they had the best attorney. He thought that he just thought that they had a really good attorney. One of Mulder's things was he couldn't implicate Darren. If he was able to implicate Darren, he probably would have placed enough reasonable doubt that both of them would have walked. But they didn't want him to implicate Darren.
All right. All right, guys. You guys have last minute questions. I am going to cut this shortly because I am tired. Yeah. And I don't want to get re-sick again from not getting enough rest.
Yeah, got over that.
Big time. But he was literally the first witness. I couldn't have genuinely thought that. I guess they're talking about Mulder.
What do you mean the first witness?
I don't know. It's what Katrina just wrote. That he was literally the first witness.
Yeah, I guess he thought that she was going to get away with it. I don't know. I have no idea why he thought she was going to be acquitted.
All right.
Yeah, it's good. He couldn't implicate Darren without perjury. Let me throw a couple of sites out there. I've got Stop the Lies. It's a Facebook page. I've got Darlie Routier, A Case for Concern. Kevin Michael, you can put your group up. And my YouTube channel is full of Darlie information. Plus, I've got some other cases on there too, but it's mostly Darlie.
Well, Phoebe's been posting your website. What are the Facebook pages?
You got Justice for Devin and Damon, which is Pamela Lakes Collins' page. It's been the longest running. I've got Stop the Lies. Darlie Routier is guilty. That's my page, and then I've got Darlie Routier, A Case for Concern. And my pages welcome supporters, but they just don't stay there. They just don't stay there. They don't want to hear it. And Kevin Michael has got a page with Kevin Michael has a page, and there's Free Darlie. We stand for Darlie Routier. I welcome supporters to come debate with me, but it just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out. The staunch supporters for her, it just doesn't work out. I wish Bernard Phillips would have come here because I can actually talk to him. He gets a little pissed though. And I appreciate being able to use this forum, this platform to get these facts out there.
And I'm pulling up all your Facebook links.
I've got a few of them. But you know, if I think the most informative one outside of the ones that I have is Pamela Collins, the justice.
Is what?
The justice for Devin and Damon Routier. Stephanie, they keep saying there was an intruder. And there's just no proof of an intruder. Sometimes these groups will have 100, 200 people in them. And like if a Darlie supporter would have came in here and started going, nah, 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 the mod can just shut them off. That way we can continue the conversation without the bullshit. That's what a mod does. If you watch a certain person, I don't even want to mention her name. But some people go lightly. Yeah, I really didn't want to mention her name. But sometimes she'll get 2,000 or 3,000 people in a chat like this, and it gets blown out of proportion. You have to have a mod. I like groups like this. We've got quite a few viewers right now, quite a few, and we've been able to have a civil chat without the crap. Now this video, we got 72 watching now, but by tomorrow it'll go up and up and up and up, and you don't need a mod. You know, Laura's able to just delete comments if she don't want them there. Mm-hmm. The mods are set up to let it flow without the bickering in the chat. That's what
I agree. My mods are awesome.
Marissa says, so I can remove your comments. So like if we would have had somebody come here being crappy and they were distracting from the conversation, the mods are there to watch the chat because it's really hard to talk and read this at the same time.
I agree.
And the mods are just set there to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Mm-hmm. Kick out trolls.
Kick out trolls, yep.
And post links.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what, I mean, I usually post links myself, but
yeah, sometimes it's hard to do that. You know, you're looking at for the link, but you also want to pay attention to people that are asking questions. You know, you want it to be interactive.
I'm multi-talented. I'm a mom of 3.
This is why I'm not so worried about getting a lot of subs to my channel, because I like for people to be able to interact. And if you have too many people there, sometimes that can be distracting. Some other people that are on YouTube right now, all they're worried about is subs and donations and crap like that. And I don't mind people that want to monetize and stuff like that, but you have to do it for the right thing. Then one of the things I want to put out there, Gray Hughes Investigates. He's a guy that gets a lot of donations, but he'll take those donations and he gives them to charity, and he shows you that he does that.
Yeah, but all he does is live streams. I could not do that.
That's all he does.
Do that.
But he's got all the goodies to do it with. I mean, you know, it's different. It's different.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Michael. Kevin Michael. I haven't seen you for a while. I don't go into Brenda's group as much as I used to.
Thanks, guys. And I do get to everybody. I'm very multi-talented. I am. I can handle a lot. But I don't think I could do a live streams all the time. I just don't think I could do it. Like, I like doing a video and moving on with my day, you know, and then answering comments. And then I like doing live certain times. But I think I would get too burnt out doing a live all the time.
I do mine.
I love you too, Stephanie.
I do once a week, Sunday at 9, and a lot of times it's Darlie. A lot of times it's just us talking. It's just people talking. I want my subscribers to be my friends. Laura's really good at this, and
thanks.
She doesn't let things get to her. And I've watched her, you know, through Facebook, just make little silly videos to what she's up to now, and I want to see her channel grow, but I don't want her to be too overwhelmed with it. Because it can be annoying. It really can be annoying.
Thanks, Phyllis. Yeah, everybody just be yourself. You know, I don't expect anything, and it is what it is. And I want to grow too. I want to be, you know, I want to grow further and further and further and do this full time. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but it's a goal. You know, do I ever think I'm going to be the next PewDiePie in true crime? Probably not. I won't have 70 million subscribers, but I'll be happy with 100,000.
Yeah, you never know what can happen. I mean, you have the voice for it. You have a good look
Yeah, but
for
I'm
it.
old.
Yeah,
YouTube stars are young. I'm old. Like nobody wants to watch a 60-year-old true crime. They want to watch a 30-year-old true crime.
I tell you, some people don't deserve the popularity that they have, and they're
That's
doing
true
it for all
too.
the wrong reasons. All the right. If you see my videos right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah,
do. I know exactly. But even further, I saw this girl, some blonde. She is so slow talking, and she's got like, I don't know, like 50,000 or 60,000 subscribers. I couldn't watch her for more than 5 minutes. But she was like 20 years old and drop
Clarissa
dead
Sheik.
gorgeous.
Clarissa Sheik.
What?
Her name is Clarissa Sheik, I believe. That's who you're talking about.
No, Ashley does crime or something.
Oh.
Ashley loves true crime, something like that.
Yeah, I like the ones that are informative. I really do. That's why I like Gray's channel so much. He's very informative. He can be a dick though.
The what?
Gray can be a dick to you though. If you say something stupid, he's gonna call you out on it.
I don't know. Well, I think once I get my teeth fixed, I'll be better. Still
No.
waiting for that stupid kit to come in the mail.
Yeah, you have that Brooklyn accent though, Laura. That's gonna sell for you. That's why I asked you where you were. I didn't remember that you were from down south, but you got that like Brooklyn accent.
No, I'm from New York.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
got
born and raised. Falcon, shut up. Number one YouTuber earned is 7-year-old kid, somewhere around there. Ray is a self-proclaimed asshole, but he's good at his job.
And see, I found out something about you.
Point of something original or a new opinion and aren't just hashing old crap. Katrina,
Yeah,
I try to do that. I always try to come up with new stuff all the time.
as much as I've watched you and known you over the years, I never knew that you were parent to twins. I have twin boys as well.
You never knew what?
I never knew you had twins.
Yeah, I have 13-year-old twins and an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I never knew much about your children. But like I said, I've got 20-year-old twins. Both of my boys are ordained ministers.
I think you told me that already, though. I think I knew that.
I may have. I just never. Yeah, I didn't get too personal with people too much.
Yeah, you did.
Well, a little bit.
Thanks, Earl.
A little bit. I try to keep it simple, but it's good to get to know people and have friends on here. It's good.
Hold on. Phoebe's right. Amber loves mystery. That's who it is, Phoebe.
I'm gonna look at that.
She's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Well, then, if you think that about Amber Loves Mystery, I want to promote Clarissa Chic, CHIC. She talks really slow and very serious, and she's so detailed. When the 2,000 the 2,000 page document came out, I first watched. She read every single bit of it, and I was glued to the screen 3.5 hours. I did not move.
I agree with Stephanie, though. This girl's too pretty. And it's like she's just so slow talking, but she's just beautiful. But her makeup is like phenomenal. She's like 21 years old. She had 80,000 subs. Sorry, Phoebe. But I guarantee it's because of her looks.
Yeah.
Charla, I have twin grandbabies, 13. All right, Charla.
All right.
80,000 subs. I'm telling you, it's because of her looks.
Well, you've got some looks too. I mean, you're not unpleasant to the eye. He said, I'm just trying to be nice without seeming flirtatious. So it works. People want to look at things that are pleasant to the eye.
Yes, but she's a little too pleasant. Like, she's going to get 80,000 subscribers. She's going to hit that whole young market. It's very hard for me to hit that young market. Like, super young.
You don't want to get your YouTube subscribers by being a kiss ass.
That's true. That is true.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
That is true. Stephanie, we're like right eye to eye with each other.
Trying to smash?
Yeah, me and Steph are eye to eye.
Who am I trying to smash?
Falcon, Laura brushes up well. I do brush up well. And then I have days like this. I'm only 20. Oh, staff, thanks.
Hey, that's a nice jacket that's that nice shirt you have on. She's got a pretty mouth. I've always teased her about her mouth. And I got a little nickname for her. I call her Rah Rah. She hasn't caught on to that yet, but if you're a baby and you try to say Laura, it comes out Rah Rah.
Ah. They look nice. I never used to. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I always did. Like, I never ever thought I would ever do YouTube like with no makeup on. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't even take a shower today. I woke up so early for work, but I threw my hair up and got dressed, and I never thought I would do that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm real. Like, this is me. I don't want to have to get dolled up every single time I do a YouTube video. This is just me.
Well, you're doing good. You're doing good.
5:51 a.m. Louis crack. 5:51 a.m. in the UK. It's what time I get up for work. I'm at work by 5 a.m.
Wow.
I'm admiring your scarf all evening and a little jealous. I can't pull one off. I have a hard time pulling them off.
Nice. Yeah, that's nice.
I do. I really, some of them I can handle, some of them I can. Short ones I can. I just hate my neck. My neck, I feel like, is getting old looking.
Try to cover it up with that scarf. That's what it is.
I've been using scarves. How do I become a moderator? You have to be here more, Isaac. You have to be like all my lives. Know how to do it. There's a lot of different things. Right now, I don't need any more mods. Once I get bigger, like 10,000 subs, I'll need another one. Or if Marissa craps out on me, or Missy, or Phoebe, but I don't think anyone's going anywhere. I think you're beautiful. Thank you, Charla. So, all right, it's almost 12 o'clock, though. I am going to cut this now. I'm pretty exhausted. So where to hold my head? Believe me, I hate my neck. It's fat and getting fatter. Thank you, Katrina.
I hear you, Tom.
And who wants to go on a diet with me? I'm starting a diet Monday, so we can all do it together. You'll reach 100,000. I hope so, Lisa.
Yeah, I think she'll get it. I think let's promote her if we like her. Let's promote her channel, and let's get her out there because this is a good place to go.
I agree, and it's gonna get better and better. You know, I make changes all the time. I've gotten a lot of compliments on live shows. Make sure that lives, you know, I show the chat, and I'm trying to get that working, and I'm having a hard time with it. So as long as it's not gluten-free, Karen, my son is already gluten-free, so not going gluten-free would be harder. But I need to really lose this weight because I'm losing my mind, and I'm waiting for the stuff on my teeth, and all should be good. So Bryan, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. It was an absolute pleasure to have you. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I think everybody enjoyed it just as much. You are welcome anytime. Even just to shoot the shit about other cases, I would love to have you back. And anyone have any last minute questions or anything? Boop. Calorie diet, household money diet. Yeah, believe me, Fallon, household money diet plays a big part of dieting. All right, Karen, let's do it. I do. My biggest thing is I need to work out. That is my biggest thing. And I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then I get lazy, but I sit in front of this fucking chair, in front of this computer, like 20 hours a day, like 15 hours a day.
I've got a demon in my legs from sitting here so much.
Yeah, but you know what I did? I bought an exercise ball to sit on instead of a chair, and I use that at work too, especially when I'm trying to lose weight. So I could do sit-ups on that, everything, but I seriously need to drop like 30 pounds. I'm losing my mind as I get older. So, thanks, Donette. And guys, make sure you check out Bryan's channel. Go to Bryan's channel, subscribe. If Veracruz is still around, check out his channel as well. Allie's channel, although I don't think any of them are still around. But I want to thank you guys all. And Bryan, again, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You guys enjoyed the Darlie special. I will be putting out a video tomorrow, and I'm not going to do a live tomorrow because I need a break. But Monday, Karen, whoever wants to join, I am totally going to put together a diet. Whoever wants to do this diet workout with me, we can do it together. We can track progress, whatever. I'm probably going to do it on Facebook. I already have a site for it. I just never did it. So anyone that wants to join, I will have all the details on Monday. Or even if you just want to work out, we can do that as well. All right.
Sunday at 9, Tom.
All right.
Thanks, Laura.
So
Bye-bye.
I will see you guys Tuesday, definitely for a live. I'm probably going to do a live Sunday night just to talk about the game plan starting Monday if you guys are interested. And all right, Phyllis. So I'll make like the title. I'll probably do something Sunday night, figure out how we're going to do it and stuff so we can all do it together. This way we're all doing it together. We can all track each other's progress and, support each other. So I will, as long as it includes Cabernet, you got it, Falcon. And I'll see you guys on Sunday again. Don't forget to subscribe Brian's channel, and I'll see you guys on Sunday night. I may put out a video tomorrow, or I may not. I don't know yet. But definitely Tuesday night for a regular live, and next Friday and Sunday night. All right? So I'll see you guys then, and see you later.
Bye.